Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
This city will be cleansed. Forget. Listen, Uther.
Dying people with me. Outside of that, it's almost level 24 time on the Warlock, and I'm gonna have a leveling guide, a Warlock guide from Kargoz, playing for the next couple of hours in the top left-hand corner. So let me know if that's a problem. I'll learn something, you'll learn something. I'm just spent a gold just to try a crazy demonology spec and. Just to test it out, but I think I'll go back to one of the combinations I was using before. But anyway, let's get to the top 24 and sit back and giddy up. So just give me a second here. Welcome, Kargoz.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Classic Guide. My name is Kargoz, and today I am proud to present to you guys a version 3 Warlock leveling guide. Thank you for joining me today. I just want to first, as a disclaimer, say that I'm a student of the game. I'm no expert. I'm just like you guys, just playing the best game ever made, a game that I really love playing, and I'm just still trying to figure everything out, just like you guys. So take everything I say with just a grain of salt. It's not that serious at the end of the day. And just do what you will with it, and hopefully you can come away with this with a greater understanding of the Warlock class, and maybe it's going to help you level in some way. So here it is, guys. Here's the table of contents, class introduction. We're going to go through the Warlock tools. We're going to go through gameplay fundamentals, the Warlock's professions. We can talk about a little bit. Dual leveling combinations, the Warlock's demons, the Warlock's talents, rotation, leveling gear, all that good stuff, right? So I just want to quickly shout out the Warlock Discord. Big shout out to the Warlock Discord. Big shout out to Dive. Big shout out to like Narva, Goetia. So
testing 1 2 3 1
you guys
2 3.
really helped so much putting this together. Big shout out to I really appreciate it. Big shout out to efforts. I'm not very quantitative, so when it comes to a lot of the quantitative stuff, you guys really helped so much. I had to lean heavily on some of these guys, and just some of them are also on the beta as well, testing things out. And I do really appreciate it. So if you are playing a Warlock in Classic, I definitely recommend you to join the Classic, the official Warlock Discord. The link will be in the description below. So big shout out to these guys. Alright, so we're going to go over to a classic overview. We're just going to talk about Warlock leveling. Broad strokes here. Okay guys, just broad strokes. We're talking about Warlock leveling. Warlocks are really cool in the sense that you can play them in a variety of ways. You can use different pets, that matches your own personal sensibilities. You can use different variations of the rotation. The talents are pretty flexible. There's a lot of different playstyles that are viable, right? To know which one is like optimal is a gray area. It's tough. You can go back and forth for so long, trying to share builds and ideas and stuff. It's tough to say which one is 100% optimal. Now, we're going to share some recommendations in here, and hopefully this guide is going to present enough options for you that you can make that choice yourself. You can choose, hey, you know what, I like drain tanking with the succubus. And you know what, I kind of prefer the defensive capabilities of the Void Walker, and I'm kind of like the tortoise in the hare. I like being a little bit, I like having more defensive options, because that guy with the succubus or the imp out, he might die, and I might, outpace him in the long run, right? We're going to be talking about, single target damage dealing. We're going to be talking about multi-dotting. Pretty much everything, guys. It's going to be a big knowledge dump. But I do want to stress that point, that they're a class that you can pilot effectively in many different ways. There's very flexible play styles, and I would categorize them as a tier 1 leveling class. So they're pretty fast leveling. They are a pet class, so with that comes certain advantages, being able to juggle, bounce threat, juggle threat back and forth. Okay, when I look down to that third paragraph, we're not going to read everything verbatim here. But here's one one thing that Warlocks really excel at. They're probably the class that does it the best. You know, there are other classes that can convert mana and health, or generate mana and health on demand, and manipulate resources on demand. But Warlocks are kind of the kings at doing that. When it comes to managing resources with a fine-tooth comb, they have many ways of converting health to mana, of converting mana to health. Many tools out there that allows them to really optimize their reservoirs of resources so they can like sustain combat longer and longer, right? More and more efficiently. So some of these abilities include Life Tap, drain health, drain mana, improve drain soul. That soul siphon, buff you get after with input and drain soul. Dark Pact, Hellstones, lots of options on the table. Another really cool thing about the Warlock class is that there's a huge breadth of abilities. They might have the most abilities out of any class. Maybe with the totems might be kind of an exception, but you need a lot of binds if you're going to play a Warlock. You need a lot of binds, and you have a ton of different abilities. Okay, there's a ton of different abilities, and like I said earlier on the Magus cast today when I was doing it with North, I can think of use cases, real, viable, useful use cases for pretty much every Warlock ability in the game, including Soothing Kiss, including Enslaved Demon, including Curse of Doom, pretty much every Curse of Weakness, man. Pretty much all of the abilities are useful in some capacity, really useful. So that's pretty much it as far as the overview. Let me skim through this. Let me read one sentence here that I like, just to make the point a little bit stronger here. There are many ways to effectively pilot a Warlock, and this flexibility to me is one of the coolest aspects of the class. Whether you're a player that prefers increased single-target kill speed at the expense of defense, or someone who prefers increased multi-target efficiency at the cost of single-target offense, the Warlock class has something to offer everyone and will allow your personal sensibilities to shine through your play. Can't stress it enough. Moving on. Next thing up, Warlock leveling strengths and weaknesses. As I mentioned before, flexible talent builds, flexible play styles, large variety of abilities. Dots are the most mana-efficient form of damage. It's like an investment, right? Elegant weapon progression through wands, low gear dependence. You can sustain combat indefinitely. That's really not a meme. You know, if you're playing it pretty well and you kind of know what you're doing, you really could. As far as like a single target type of deal, you could totally sustain that indefinitely through a variety of different ways, whether it be using recursive exhaustion and using Dark Pact and just getting that infinite value loop, or just veering things off into perpetuity, or just using your Void Walker effectiveness in a way where you end the fight in sort of a resource, again, a zero-sum game. You didn't lose any resources, you didn't gain any resources. Totally sustainable. Can generate health or mana on demand. Solo wipe prevention, and this is through the form of Soulstone, which you acquire as you level. Strong AoE capabilities. This is something I think people sleep on, the Warlock's AoE potential. We're going to talk about that as we get a little bit further into the guide. Warlocks are have strong AoE capabilities, and those AoE capabilities can be enhanced through talents pretty significantly. So we're going to be talking about that. High group utility. Man, do they have high group utility. Man, oh man. Warlocks are just bursting from the seams with utility. Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. So, when it comes to raiding, when it comes to being in a dungeon, when it comes to being solo, so much utility. I really mean it, man. I really mean it. Even when you're raiding, like in the Fell Hunter, this little guy you see on the screen right here is you can't really see him. He's all the way on the right. I'm gonna move him over. This guy right here is a boss. Fell Hunter is a boss. PvE, PvP. He has a baseline high amount of resistance. He's basically like a little mini priest and a mini mage combined. You have Imp CS and a little lockout attached to it. So the Imp CS is a blanket silence. You also have offensive and defensive dispel, so you can remove remove stuff that's beneficial to your enemies, like an ice barrier. You can devour it off, and it heals him when he devours it off. So he like rips the buff off, and it like eats his fell energy, and he gets his health back. Or he can remove stuff that's harming you or your allies. So you can remove a fear off your healer. You can remove a fear off yourself, a polymorph off yourself. So this little guy is a beast. And then raiding, also high impact too. It's also why I prefer SM Ruin. This is going to be on mainly leveling guys too. But if you factor in huge diversity of Warlock abilities, you just see some crazy utility baked into the class. Really love that about the class. So kind of a more one IQ point, but you can juggle threat with your pet, right? It's the nature of a pet class. Just being able to ping pong, juggle threat back and forth, has advantages, right? A lot of gray area there. Strong crowd control, seduction, fear, and pets. So you're juggling with pets. You have, or your pet can control, like your Warlock can control one target or multiple targets. You also have seduction, charms, seduce from your succubus. You also have fear. So this is one thing I also think Warlocks, people sleep on Warlocks about when it comes to crowd control. How many times as a best practice you hear people say, yo, don't use fear in a dungeon. Don't use fear in a dungeon, it's bad. Fear is a liability in a dungeon, right? Fear is a liability. It can be, absolutely. But there's also an ability called Curse of Recklessness, which can draw the mob back to you if you apply it to a feared target. So you're going to fear it off in an RNG direction. But if you have your finger on the trigger under Recklessness and you're super attentive and you see that mob, the second it starts moving in a disadvantageous direction, you snap to that Recklessness, you can drag it back, right? And you feel like a puppeteer when you're in dungeons and stuff. The crowd control is dope. Seduction, man. Seduction is really good. It's something that is actually pretty reliable. Again, only usable on humanoid targets, but what's a dungeon that doesn't have any humanoids? There's humanoids all over the place, right? So the crowd control is really nice. When you have one target seduced and one target feared off in a random direction, man, you feel like a puppeteer. All right, World PvP powerhouse. Warlocks, man, they just have so much gas. They just have gas for days. It's so hard to outgas a Warlock, man. Especially if you're a class that can't purge, you can't offensively dispel. Like priest can, right? Another Warlock can with the Fell Hunter. Shamans can too as well with literally the ability to purge. But if you don't have one of those, and the Warlock is the Woodwalk route, especially if it's Fell on a Master Summoner, you can resummon another one and sack it again. Dude, that's the right there. You're not going to outvalue them, right? If you can rip it off, then you're kind of in the money, right? You're in the money, but even then, Warlocks can just straight up trade your face. But Warlock has spell concentration. Oftentimes, he just dots you, just sit there right in your face, and just drain life, just right in your face, just right in your face, drain life right in your face, and you just you can't trade with them. They'll just outvalue you. And then if you do kill him, he comes back with Soulstone, and then Soulstone's not the type of thing where you come back with like 5% health. You come back with a nice little juicy chunk of health and mana. So if you do end up taking that Warlock out, he's gonna pop back up and he's gonna kill you. So that's World PvP powerhouse for sure, and many different styles of PvP as well. You can throw that Deathstroke Glass Cannon with the Succubus. You can go heavy dot damage and go kind of an SM Demonology build, or you can go my personal favorite, Soul Link, and Soul Link Shadowburn is my favorite spec out of those. So World PvP powerhouse, absolutely. I think they're the heavyweight champion, Rocky Balboa, 1v1, pound for pound, pound for pound champions. Wiper eventually talking about that free mounted 40. It really is a free mounted 40. Whenever I say free mounted 40, I get a lot of comments, people saying, it's not a free mount, you have to go to Dire Maul. The 40 mount is free. You just have to go to Ratchet and turn it into the guy to get them out. Alright, strong duo levelers. I know dual leveling is kind of a trending thing in the meta. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so dual leveling, they're super strong at dual leveling. You know why they're super strong? Because they have all this utility that they can offer their partner, right? The White Prevention on a healer, that actually has a baseline res, Hellstones, all that good stuff, right? Buffs, you can get blood pack, there's a bunch of things you can add to your partner. But Life Tap is a really essential reason why they're very strong dual levelers. Their damage gets accelerated if you can get healed. You pretty much have unlimited power if you can get healed. And you can just spend mana like really, really loosey-goosey, just everywhere you want. You can just start dumping mana, attacking everything. You just tap, agony, just tap just on everything, and you're able to tap super aggressively. If you're gonna be able to get topped off, or if you have just a renew ticket on you or something like that, your offensive potential gets accelerated. They're just a very good duo leveling or group leveling, just strong in groups. Warlocks are just strong, man. Warlocks are just strong. So that's some of the strengths. Now we're going to go off to the weaknesses, because it's not all, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Okay? Not all rainbows and butterflies. Okay. And now we're going to go on to weaknesses. Low mobility. They have no talents. They have no abilities that boost their movement speed in any way. You are, for all intents and purposes, a potato. So something to keep in mind, and you're susceptible to potentially getting kited. Warlock's kind of that defensive class. They kind of have like a turret. They kind of have like a turret kind of style of gameplay, right? They kind of just hold their ground. they dig deep, and it's tough to run away as a Warlock from someone. You can do it. Of course there's ways to do it. You can fear someone off into oblivion, run away, drop combat, mount up, get away. You can seduce someone, run away. And then, so this is when you see low mobility, you're going to recognize, you know, a really big value add for items like gadgets, items, consumables, offense, whatever it is. That's going to be control related, right? So even just Skull and Penny Doom for the speed bonus, nifty stopwatch, swiftness potions, right? Even if you just want to Netomatic someone. Netomatic can be a liability though, because if you Netomatic someone and it backfires and it roots you, you have no way of getting rid of that root. You're stuck there for like 30 seconds and you're dead. So you can have a spider belt help with that, but mobility is a potential issue here. Next thing is Warlocks get off to a slow start. I used to think Warlocks were like the fastest class out the gate, because they get a pet so early, right? You would think they get a pet so early, way before hunters, they're the fastest class. The level in the early levels. It's kind of the opposite actually. Rank 1 Shadow Bolt, very weak. Weakest out of the rank 1 spells. Also, dots are susceptible to overkilling mobs, and unless you just have way too much time on your hand, it's hard to go out there and find the actual breakpoints of how many dots it takes to extract full value from dots and kill stuff. So oftentimes you end up overkilling stuff with dots. Secondly, you have to just sit there and cast. Like, you're not very mobile as you're dealing damage. A hunter can auto shot and stutter step and move in a productive direction. You know, warriors, melee classes, they can attack and move in a productive direction. Even mages, they do big damage in like high tempo bursts, and then they just go about their day. So they kill stuff super quick and they go about their day. Warlocks are sitting there hard casting the Immolates and corruption in these early levels, and they get off to a slow start. They do. You know, you pick it back up a little bit, you know, soon after, once you get that Void Walker, once you get that wand, you're going to be smooth sailing, right? But in terms of those early levels, they actually have kind of a rough time, I would say. Just my personal opinion, All right, so what I said before, damage over time spells are highly susceptible to overkilling, as it's difficult to know lethal damage breakpoints. On the same note, damage over time spells are so good because you invest into them and they can get you ticket back to your natural spirit-based mana regeneration. And you're still doing damage while you're just passively regenerating. So they give you a lot of bang for your buck, right? But it's just two things to keep in mind, all right? The next thing is Warlocks have a lot of necessary abilities to train, which can be quite costly. That is very true. Lots of grimoires for your pets. So even though you get this free mounted 40, it's kind of balanced around the idea that you have to spend all this extra gold buying grimoires for your pets, right? You don't have to buy all the grimoires, but you kind of have to buy a good amount of these grimoires. Because a lot of these grimoires are actually pretty good. We're going to go through it. I have the ability progression in there as well. But you got to get not only your skills, but your pet skills. You can skip ranks of the pet skills and buy just the higher rank grimoires later on if you want to just kind of cut corners a little bit. But just something to keep in mind. All right, big one here. Warlocks suffer from a lack of inventory space. This is a big issue while leveling. Hold on, sip of water. You have to have shards. You have to generate soul shards, hellstones, or reserve soul stone in your bag. You're gonna have probably 7 to 10 slots. Yeah, maybe that's a little overkill. You can, as long as you keep like maybe 4 shards in your bag at all times, you kind of just don't go below that. Every time you go below 4, you regenerate. I'd say like 4 soul shards, and you can have hellstone stuff. You'll be all right, but you're gonna be losing some inventory slots there for sure. Right? You don't have to go OD and have a bazillion soul shards in your bag, but you got to have some in reserve, right? So yeah, that's one thing. And here's a big weakness. And here is the biggest weakness. Here's the biggest weakness right here. The one that comes to mind. And this is real talk. Let me make sure the screen is not dropping. Now we're good. All right, here's a big weakness of Warlocks, man. A lot of your tools require shards. Not necessarily while leveling, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just thinking down the line. But shards are a way of life. It's not just a little trivial thing that you do and it's not a big deal. Shards are a big part of the Warlock experience. If you're using all the abilities like you want to be using all your abilities, you will just rip through your shards. Your shards will just get yoinked. And you're going to get this mentality like, anytime you have downtime, you should be farming shards because you always need shards. You do 1 BG, you're out of shards. You do 1 dungeon, you're out of shards. If you do a couple duels, you're out of shards. Shards, you need shards for a lot of your skills, right? Shadow burn is a big one in PvP. Just creating hellstones all the time. Resummoning your pets requires shards. So soul stones require shards. It's just something to keep in mind because I don't want to downplay this. So if someone is on the fence of playing Warlock, don't tell you I didn't warn you, man. Soul shards are a very real pain point. Real pain point. Anyone who's played the Warlock can tell you that. Alright, now we're going to go into general playstyles. Okay? So, general playstyles. There's 3 main buckets here. There's 3 main camps. And at the end of the day, it's vanilla. There's a lot of gray area. It doesn't have to be this simple that there are only 3. There's lots of gray area, right? You can make each spec your own and tweak things in little ways, pick up a few points here, pick up a few points there. You can really make it your own. But this is just for the sake of educational purposes. These are the 3 main big camps here. You have the people who love using imp, right? They love leveling with the imp. And the imp does, when I haven't calculated it at every single level range, but I'm almost certain that there's going to be certain level ranges where the imp is doing more damage than the succubus, and certain level ranges that the succubus is doing more damage than your imp. Even the other day, we were testing whatever that, they give you 40 characters on the beta before they close it down. We were testing DPS and imp for succubus. Succubus was putting out more damage than the imp. Again, there's other implications here though. Succubus does physical damage, that's reduced by armor. This is magical damage, but it's not free. Imp's damage is a function of mana. So your pet is subject to the same rules you are when it comes to regeneration, right? When it comes to spirit-based mana or health regeneration, it still has to follow that same guidelines there. So with your imp, you have to like budge it out and fireballs. That's its main damage dealing ability, and then you have to turn him off and make sure he doesn't just go boom or stagger his abilities, because then you're just going to be losing money. You're going to be losing money. So the first camp is single target. It is very much a single target playstyle. It's probably the highest risk. You have the least defensive options, but when talented into the imp does a lot of damage. And there are certain timing windows, like specifically like what at 18 you can use it like see a line with rank 2 fireball. And yeah, it's pretty much you set up a kind of triangle formation. It doesn't have to be a triangle, it can be any kind of formation you want, but essentially you open up with your imp. Your imp is a lot more delicate on a real classic environment compared to private servers. It's way more delicate, right? But you can still, once you get blood packed on and you get a little bit up there, you know, even just like 10 plus, it takes some hits, you know, it's okay. You just have to be sure to keep his health in mind. It is kind of low. So you have your imp open up on the target, cast a couple fireballs, you strip it off. You can time when you want to strip it off based on the mob's health. The mob will transition targets from the imp to you, start running at you. And then at this point, you can either choose to wand or drain life it, or do anything you want. But usually it's either wand or drain life, depending on how good your drain life is versus your wand. You're going to get new ranks of drain life. You're going to get new wands. It's just something you have to make these judgment calls. Now, a lot with Warlock, we're going to have some data here that kind of suggests certain rotations to you guys, but it's something you're going to have to go with feel. You have to go with feel a lot too. There's a lot of feeling when you're playing Warlock. So let me see if I'm missing anything with imp single target. Yeah, you kind of rapidly kill single targets. It requires a lot of finesse for sure, because you have to actively manage your pet's mana regeneration. That is kind of a big deal. You know, I often put in the rotation like in certain levels with the imp, because I can use Void Walker for 10 to 30 roughly. The imp will say, you know, I'm going to budget 2 fireballs with this guy. I'm going to budget 3 fireballs with this guy. So you make sure there's 2, and then, you know, shut him off. You make sure there's 3, and you shut him off. And it's easy to let him go. If you forget for a second, and he staggers a couple more fireballs, the dude's out of mana, and it sucks. So there's some micro involved here. He also is not really going to be doing much more other than giving you a little bit of health when it comes to defensive options. So just something to keep in mind. The next camp is the Void Walker multi-dotting. So, Void Walker multi-dotting is playstyle from 10 to 30. 10 to 30 just based on my subjective personal experiences. From 10 to 30, the Void Walker his torment ability, which is like his pseudo-taunt type ability, his aggro, his threat generating ability. He has 2 threat generating abilities, we'll get into it later. He has suffering and he has torment. So, torment, from 10 to 30, or rank 1 to rank 3 torment, you get torment and all the way up to 30. They, well, the first 2 torment levels, sorry. So, torment 1 and torment 2. They're cheap enough that you can just keep them on auto cast, and he's still going to be mana capped, it's not a big deal. That's very different from private servers. In private servers, torment is costly to the point where you can't use stuff like consume shadows. Anyway, with the Void Walker, what this consists of is you pretty much have the Void Walker on one target, you dot it up, you get it into a position where your dots are going to extract maximum value, and then you can go to another target and open up on a second target with more of a single target rotation, get all your dots on that, and use the train tank on that one, where you're going to be killing 2 targets at the same time. Now, if you're some pro, you're kind of pro, you want to get more fancy with it. You know, once you get suffering up, which is its AoE taunt, it's on a 2 mitigated now. Suffering. You can actually get a third mob as well. And Suffering generates enough red that it will hold that third mob for quite some time. So you can dot up a third mob too and kill 3 at a time. You can almost use it almost like a super complete type thing. It takes a little bit of finesse, and you're in a spot where oftentimes you attempt it and then you end up spending more resources than you initially wanted to, because you easily kind of misplay it. I'd say the safest bet is if you're going to Voidwalker multi-dot, kill 2 targets at a time. If you're going for 3, maybe you can have something feared off in the distance or something like that, but you run the risk of spending too many resources and not being like that sustainable equilibrium. Now at the same time, if you're an aggressive player and you want to buy max strength water every 10 levels at 5, 15, 25, 35, you want to buy all this new water, max strength waters, and you want to dump mana, that's something that it's hard to quantify the efficacy of that. You know, there is a line where you dump mana, and if you get like a fresh new rank of water, like level 15 water, level 25 water, and you want to dump and kill 3 targets at the same time and just sit down and go for a hard drink with max strength water, that could be like really efficient too. Again, a lot of this stuff comes down to feeling. So the multi-dotting, you're killing a couple targets at the same time. Voidwalker, many defensive capabilities. You have that Suffering, like I said before, so you can rip it. If you face pull something like off to the side, and you want to get it off you, the Voidwalker could Suffering, you can just tap it with an auto attack or whatever, and get it off you. But Suffering is pretty useful. Obviously, Sacrifice is a huge one, and I love Voidwalker is my preferred pet of choice as an all-around just good. That's the pet I want out in open world PvP. That's the pet I want out. Some people like Seduce, some people like Succubus, right? But the Succubus seduction shares DR with your fear. So yeah, you could seduce someone, but then you open up on him, you put a bunch of dots on him, and the seduce is kind of potentially useless. And now your fear is DR. Now you could, even if you could seduce them 3 times and just weave in like a Shadow Bolt or a Searing Pain or something that's not going to do damage over time. But it just feels rough, man, when you're not Destro and you're just like, you know, you could do that even if you were like an Affliction Demonology build and you had your Succubus out and drain tanking. You could seduce and hit him with like probably like a Shadow Bolt into a Searing Pain, seduce again, hit him with another Shadow Bolt. So you could do that as well. That's a good way to approach it. But me personally, I like having the Voidwalker out and getting value from that here. I feel very strong when I have Sacrifice on the table to save your life. Sacrifice is a very powerful shield. It gives you like a disproportionately high absorb. It's insane. Kind of allows you to AoE grind sometimes. Well, something you can do is you can sack your Voidwalker, resummon him, pull a bunch of stuff, start hellfiring, sack him again, so you get that double value of the shield. So Sacrifice is very good. Consume Shadows is other. We'll get into that more later. Sorry, we're gonna get into the pet abilities later. And next kind of camp, and this is very exciting kind of change in the meta of Warlock leveling. I'm referring to Succubus drain tanking with or without Dark Pack. It can be doable either way. And it really feels like it comes online once you get that Dark Pack. Dark Pack, sleeper cell ability. A lot of Warlocks sleeping on that, man. While you seduce the Soulfire, not when you're leveling, man. You get Soulfire. What level do you get Soulfire? Let's look at what level you get Soulfire. Let's look at what level you go Soulfire, man. Yeah, you absolutely can Soulfire, but you get it at 56. You get Soulfire at 56. So, and it's not something that I would want to do while leveling necessarily on a mob. You wouldn't want to seduce it and open up with Soulfire. PvP, absolutely. Absolutely. You can Soulfire into a Searing Pain, into a Shadow Burn. Absolutely. This is a leveling guide. Okay. So anyway, so we're talking about the leveling camps here. So with the Succubus drain tanking, this is a very exciting sort of shift in the leveling meta amongst the Warlock community. I'm not going to go ahead and take credit for this. I wouldn't even attempt to. The first person I saw really bring this up and bring it to the forefront and start advocating for this. He made a really beautiful guide, put together an amazing, just immaculate guide. Is Dive. Really shout out Dive for this. It's something that we tested on the beta pretty extensively, not just myself, other Warlocks as well. And it's drain tanking with the Succubus out. And then also making use of Dark Pack once you get 40 plus. So Succubus actually does a lot of high physical damage. It's kind of flimsy, right? It's kind of a little bit flimsy. But high physical damage, and oftentimes at certain level ranges, more DPS than your imp. So with this playstyle, it's kind of a single target playstyle. It's similar to the imp in that sense. You're killing one target at a time, but you're killing it like hyper efficiently. The efficiency of drain tanking with Succubus is insane. And because the Succubus deals free damage, physical damage, if you take off Lash of Pain from autocast or whatever, right, you're able to Dark Pack into it. You're able to Dark Pack in and use her mana as a mana battery. And because she's not using any spells, she's just passively regenerating. Like she's getting full value for her base mana regeneration. and it feels like an embarrassment of riches. You feel like you have so many resources, just ample, plethora of resources, too many resources. It feels really good in practice, I have to say. So yeah, uses inventories, generate some snap threat with the succubus using its lash of pain as a pseudo taunt. That is nothing you can do. Generate a little bit more threat with the succubus. You can manually lash of pain. That's your little damage dealer. Then you can tactically strip aggro away from the mob, either using immolate, drain life, whatever you choose. There's a lot of variables that go into it. But you're eventually going to strip the mob off your succubus, too much damage, and all that time where the mob is traveling to you, your pet's not getting hit, you're not getting hit, your pet is attacking it from behind, so the mob is not getting parried. The mob is not parrying or anything, so it's actually feeling a slight DPS increase, and it just feels really good in practice. So these are the three main camps. You're going to see Imp, Voidwalker, and Succubus. Alright? So we're going to go on to the next section, the Warlock tools. I've been talking so much about all the different abilities that the Warlocks have. Let's get into them. Let's talk about a little bit of some of these tools we have access to.
I'm out of range.
Okay.
It's too far away.
So, here are your main dots. It's a Curse of Agony, Corruption, Immolate, Siphon Light. Here's your main burst here, direct damage here, Soul Fire, Shadow Bolt, Searing Pain, Shadow Burn. You have your drains here, and I put offensive, so you don't have all the drains here. This is just drain life and drain mana. You also have the drain soul, but I wouldn't really consider that offensive in a way. You know, it's all a matter of perspective whether you not want to consider drain mana offensive. I kind of do. I really like the drain mana win condition. I don't think that's super explored oftentimes when you're doing like 1v1s out in the open or whatever. So another offensive ability is this Devour Magic. It's a Dispel or a Purge, offensive and defensive. Amplifies is your main amplifies. There's also Curse of Recklessness, which is an amplification, but it's to physical damage, right? It's physical damage. These are the things that are going to amplify your damage. You got Curse of Shadow, you got Curse of Elements, Curse of Shadows, you also have an Amplified Curse. Alright, so moving on to defensive abilities. Soul Link is damage mitigation. You have 3 absorbs, you have Sacrifice, Spellstone, and the Shadow Ward, the Shadow Absorb. So these are very, very powerful. Spellstone, another super underrated, underutilized Warlock ability. So you generate the Spellstone, it's held in your offhand. It gives you 1% crit, and when you consume it, it's actually a consumable. When you consume this, it is effectively a Cloak of Shadows. So there's Cloak of Shadows in vanilla in a certain extent. It removes all magical effects on you, both positive ones and negative ones on you. So if you have Power of Fortitude, if you have your Voidwalker sack on you right now, you go ahead and pop this Spellstone. You best believe it's not only going to remove the bad stuff, it's going to remove the good stuff. So something to keep in mind, Spellstone, amazing ability, so good with PvP, I have to say. When talented into, it's 1100 absorb, so good. This absorbs shadow damage, a lot of shadow damage in vanilla and PvP, really good ability as well. Wipe prevention through Soulstone, damage mitigation. I don't know if this is damage mitigation, I don't know how you're probably not going to, it's a matter of perspective. Hellstone and Drain Life, you guys know what they do, right? Pet Resummon, Fell Domination, very good talent, we'll get into later. AoE Threat Grab, that's Suffering. Sustain tools, you got Drain Life, Drain Mana, and Drain Soul is a sustain tool. If you get improved Drain Soul and you want to sustain and get that Soul Siphon buff, and sustain that way, different strokes, different boats. It's something that I'm not a huge fan of personally, but it's something you can definitely do. Taps, so you have multiple taps, you have Dark Pack and Life Tap. Dark Pack converts mana from your pet into mana for yourself. Life Tap converts your health into mana for yourself. Pet healing, you have this Siphon Light, I think it's what is this called? No, Health Funnel, sorry. Health Funnel and First Aid, these are healing options as well. We'll zip through these. Key control abilities, so Fear, Curse of Recklessness, I referred to this earlier, so you can fear stuff and then recklessness it. If it's going in a bad direction, it'll come directly back to you, just cut a beeline straight back to you. You have Seduction, Seduce, right? You also have Banish. Banish actually is very good in PvE and PvP. You can banish other Warlock demons. If it's a Fell Hunter, oftentimes you have to preempt that banish with Curse of Shadows to reduce its shadow resistance. Fell Hunter has a very high level of baseline shadow resist. You also have the Howl. Howl Terrorist is an AoE fear you obtain at level 40. This is something where if you get a lot of mobs on you, you can go and cast this and get a big fear bomb off, fear everything off in their respective directions. As far as slows, I have Curse of Tongues here. Probably my favorite Warlock ability, dude. This is probably my favorite Warlock ability right here, Curse of Tongues. I love Curse of Tongues. Absolutely love Curse of Tongues. I love slowing people's cast speed down. Maybe it says something about me, man. I'm kind of weirdo like that. On Hunter, my favorite ability was Viper Sting. I like Viper Sting. I like taking mana. I like taking slowing down attack speed. not the flashiest ability, right? A lot of people might like Soul Fire, Pyro. I love Curse of Tongues, and I plan to make full use of this. You can't amplify Curse of Tongues, though, unfortunately. You can only amplify Curse of Exhaustion, Curse of Agony, and Curse of Doom, I believe. So you also have, that's the reason why I put Amplify Curse, because you can amplify Curse of Exhaustion from a 30% to 50%, isn't it, right? You can basically, Curse of Exhaustion, whenever you have Amplify of, is a ranged, you can apply it from range to Curse that applies a 50% slow. It's a very dramatic slow effect that's applicable from range. And this is, Curse of Exhaustion is really your only on-demand slow as a Warlock other than Cripple. Cripple is another one, but that's a Doom Guard ability, and it's kind of rare when you're going to have your Doom Guard out. So this is really, this is an affliction talent. So if you're going like Soul Link or Shadowburn, you're not going to have access to Curse of Exhaustion. Alright, moving on to silences. It's not really a silence. It's kind of its own thing. Death Coil over there. Death Coil is like a horror effect. You can't use fear removing effects to get rid of it. It's kind of its own thing. And then you also have Spell Lock. So Spell Lock is insane. Spell Lock makes your Spell Hunter kind of, like I said, a mini priest and a mini mage. He's kind of a mini mage in the sense that Spell Lock has a blanket silence effect to it before it locks you out of your spell. Very, very powerful ability. So good. Then we also have a mind control ability, believe it or not, Enslave Demon. So Enslave Demon is awesome, dude. You use it to enslave your Doom Guard. You can use it as a farming tool. You can go enslave Satyrs and Dire Maul, and go farm Demonic Runes and stuff like that. Get Felcloth and Dire Maul. Enslave Demon actually useful. Like I said, man, I'm going back to the initial statement. Pretty much all the Warlock abilities are useful, viable stuff you will actually use. No meme, no Kava. So you can enslave your Doom Guard, get access to the really powerful Cripple, which is essential debuff that we're going to use on week 1 Rag. You get the Rain of Fire in your Doom Guard, you get the little War Stomp effect on your Doom Guard. There's probably some really cool demons out there. I haven't really even explored all that, man. Cool demons you can enslave and have some really cool abilities on them. So, and this is something that you can improve, so it has 10% additional hit, so it doesn't break nearly as often as well. Let's see, let's move on to the next one. So key abilities, group utility. We have damage buffs, as we said, these are kind of amplifiers. We have Curse of Shadows, Curse of Elements, Curse of Recklessness, and I don't know why I put this here, actually. Damage buffs. It's reflect damage. It's fire shield, right? You can improve it. You can improve this on your imp. It's good, like if you're dual level with the paladin, as I mentioned before, and your paladin's trying to stack reflect damage, right? He has Retribution Aura. He's getting a shield spike. He's using Dragon Breath Chili. He's using all types of reflect damage stuff. You can give him this and just further that one condition further. It's a cool little thing you can make use of. Health buff. You have Blood Pact. This is an imp ability. Buffs. You have Underwater Breathing. You also have various levels of detect invisibility. Invisibility is different from stealth. Keep that in mind. Healing and wipe prevention, Hellstone, Soulstone. You can summon people. One of the best feelings. You know, just a really big, really big ability, man. Summon is so good. If you're doing a spell cleave, if you're doing any kind of dungeon cleave, if you're in a dungeon in general, if you have a Warlock in your dungeon, you can just do that dungeon forever. That dungeon is an infinite value. Because you can everybody can hearth out, you can summon everyone back, including the Warlock. The Warlock can summon himself back. You know, so having a Warlock in the group is just massive, just so high impact. You can just choose to do that dungeon over and over and over again until Kingdom Come. So you also have Eye of Kilrog, something that people were manipulating on the beta in its early stages to make these fat pulls at 1,000 health. It was also able to like aggro mobs, and then after it would die, it would just pull everything and the threat would transfer over to the remaining party members. It no longer functions in this way. On the beta, it doesn't really have health. It kind of just floats around in its own little ethereal demonic plague. It can't really be detected. It can't really transfer threat. It's just a scouting tool at this point. It's a scouting tool. It's your little demonic tennis ball. Really cool, flavorful ability, and you can use it to scout. I'm sure you can use it effectively in fighting. You can just look at AV or something and scout off in the distance. It moves really fast. Cool ability, really cool ability. Going on to crowd control, just put this on here, Enslave Demon Banish, Seduction, Burst, anything. Let's move on to recruit. Some of the main things. Let me see. I laid out all the abilities here, and I listed some like kind of interesting points to them. Okay, well, I'll comment on some of these abilities here and explain a little bit some of the nuances of it right now. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Curse of Agony. Okay, so Curse of Agony, guys. Here's something that's really cool about Curse of Agony. You read the tooltip, and it becomes evident that this spell is a 24-second dot, except for 2 seconds, right? That's 12 ticks. 12 ticks, right? And you read the tooltip, it says it deals more damage towards the back end of the spell. So the early ticks do smaller amounts of damage, and then in the later ticks, it does more amount of damage. Alright, so this is something that we really only found out yesterday. We didn't really realize how drastic that really is. It's a very big deal that you get value from those last 4 ticks. Those last 4 ticks is where you make your money with this spell. And if you clip into those last 4 ticks of Curse of Agony, you're shooting yourself in the foot, big time. It's actually a big deal. Like, the last 4 ticks of Curse of Agony are by far the most important. The initial ticks do next to no damage, and you see this really weird thing where, like, rank 1 Curse of Agony is more effective from a DPM perspective than rank 2 Curse of Agony on fights that last 12 seconds or less, because the way it works is, like, with the subsequent ranks of Curse of Agony, it makes that drastic, like, difference between the start of the spell and the end of the spell even greater. So the early ticks of Curse of Agony rank 2 will even be less effective from a DPM perspective than Curse of Agony rank 1. It's just, the TLDR with the spell is you really want to make sure you get value from those last 4 ticks. And also, if a mob's running off in the distance with low health and you apply Curse of Agony on it, you're wrong. Like, it's not, you're kind of you're not really doing anything. You know, it doesn't really start hitting hard until those last 4 ticks. That's where you make all your money with it. It also is a very good thing with multi-dotting. You know, if you're dual leveling, multi-dotting, throwing up Curse of Agony, where you can really ensure that you're going to get full value from all 12 ticks over the full 24 seconds, you really make some really good money. The DPM is insane. Yeah, like I said, those ticks every 2 seconds. Great pulling tools. One of the advantages of that really early tick damage, is that it's a great pulling tool, because your pet is able to, you know, hit that breakpoint and threat, like, very consistently, and you yoink that mob off you, right? So you pull with Agony, your Voidwalker, no problem. He comes up to it, he love taps it, he gets the threat, it's all good, right? So very, very good pulling tool. Also, you know, you can benefit from the increased range from it. You know, if you do get that extra 6 yards in the Affliction Tree, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So Immolate, sort of like your least damage per mana efficient dot. It's something you kind of apply towards the end. In the latter stages, the rotation you're going to see is kind of like an optional 4th dot that you can apply, you know, as the situation dictates. You can apply it based on your playstyle. Like, if you want to dump mana, if you're on an elite, if you want to do more damage, do max damage, you can definitely apply Immolate. It also, interestingly, deals like a set amount of damage. It's not a range on it. Like, you see how it just deals this much damage, then additional whatever over 15 seconds. So it also deals like kind of a high amount of threat when it first impacts the target. It's not a projectile. Immolate is not a projectile. You cast it, it instantly appears on the target. It's not a projectile. A projectile is like a shadow bolt. You wind it up, you cock it back, you Kamehameha, it flies through the air, and it connects to the target. So one thing you can do is just a little mini wombo combo you can do is you can cast up a shadow bolt, and then from max range, and then as that projectile is flying through the air, you can wind up and Immolate. They both connect at the same time. Life is good, so you can do that. Fire spells, which doesn't benefit from suppression. Moving on, Corruption. You can make this instant cast. This is really like a bread and butter. Like, you get really good value out of Corruption. Very good DPME. You can proc Nightfall. Very good talent. Very good talent. You can make it instant. Pretty much all the leveling builds for Warlock pretty much ensure that you maintain instant corruption at all times. Very big deal. All right, Siphon Life. Let me take another sip of water. I'm talking a million miles a minute. Okay. All right, talking a million miles a minute here, but Siphon Life takes every 3 seconds, improved by Shadow Mastery. It's kind of another sleeper cell ability. It's something like, so you have to realize that Siphon Life and Drain Life, not only do they deal damage, but they give you health back, right? And as a Warlock, if you get improved life tap, which you should more often than not, is you're going to be able to convert health to mana at a favorable exchange rate. You get 20% extra on it, because it's going to improve the efficacy of your life tap, right? So you convert health to mana at a favorable exchange rate. So all this health that you get back from these abilities, you're able to tap into, and you get more value from that. So it's tough to quantify that, you know, the DPS, HPS, overall net value of stuff like Siphon Life. It's something that in practice feels really good. It's the type of thing that you may see this as a non-Warlock and go like, yo, this thing doesn't look very good right now. I'm looking at the mana cost, like, I don't know about this. I'm kind of sketched out by this. When you're actually in practice, doing your rotation, it feels good to use. Oftentimes you just need a little bit more damage, or you need a little bit more healing to be in like a really good equilibrium. So it's a mana positive ability, since you can tap, the health gain at a favorable exchange rate. Doesn't cause healing aggro. So on private servers, it caused the healing aggro. On classic, real classic, Siphon Life does not cause healing aggro. Big deal. So let's say, we'll make an example, man. You have two mobs, right? Attacking a Voidwalker, you drop a Siphon Life on target 1. Target 2 isn't gonna like come to you because you have the healing aggro, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Burst damage spells, Shadow Bolt, we We talked about that. You know, high damage, 0.857 spell coefficient. 3-second base cast time, so all 3-second base cast time spells are kind of in that boat. Generates high amount of threat, deals really good damage. It is shadow damage, can be used as an instant via Nightfall proc. Searing Pain, there's a high threat component to it. It has a 2x threat multiplier on Searing Pain. It is fire damage. It is a short cast. Oftentimes, if you're up against a mage in PvP or something, like they're trying to lock you out from your other tree, right? So if you can just like cast Searing Pain and try and debate their CS or something like that. Searing Pain is pretty good. You can use it as your primary tanking tool if you are expected to tank. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's not as much of a meme as you might think. Warlocks can sort of tank in a capacity. So short cast, light fire damage, high threat, good finishing tool. It's also something that lines up well with like the projectiles, whether it's a soul fire or shadow bolt. You can wind up a big soul fire, shadow bolt, cast a Searing Pain into a shadow burn. That's Nicky Night Night right there for all of your foes. Good when targeted shadow immune. Yes, if something shadow immune, it's fire damage, right? Shadow burn, another awesome ability. Shadow burn is another awesome ability, I have to say. As a non-warlock, you may be looking at this, scratching your head like, does this look good to me? Instantly blast a target for this amount of damage, and the target dies within 5 seconds. It's hard to see how good this is until you put it into practice. This is a really good PvP tool. Oh, my lantern. Also, it's a DPS increase if you can use it in PvE as well. The only thing is it takes a shard, right? So if you use Shadow Burn in PvE, like when you're raiding, man, you will just tear through your shard. But in PvP, where if you're really trying to win that 1v1, that's the first global I usually use sometimes. I mean, it depends on the matchup, right? Maybe if it's against a rogue or something like that, like maybe you just put up a dot or something first. But Shadow Burn, I try to use it as soon as possible because it's only got a 15-second cooldown, and it's going to be up again. It deals big instant damage. You don't have to cast anything. You know, instants are very valuable, right? And with the Shadow Burn in your kit, you have so many high-value instants. If you use Shadow Burn at the start of a fight, it's likely going to be up again shortly after. While that fight is still going on, you can use it again. Just a couple dots and a couple Shadow Burns is enough to kill most classes for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, it just lines up that way. You start with the Shadow Burn, you throw up a couple dots, you know, you maybe get death pull, you throw a grenade, Shadow Burn's off cooldown, you Shadow Burn. So Shadow Burn, very, very powerful. Very powerful. Let's see here. Also, yeah, if you use it and the target yields XP or honor, the caster gets a soul shard back. So even if you kill a PvP player, a PvP target with the Shadow Burn, and they die within 5 seconds, you will get the shard back. Alright. So now we're going into drain spells, drain life. This is something that also feels really good. Pretty much the thing with drain life, you usually using drain life or wanding, depending on how good either or are. You can also just use drain life when you need health, and it's that straightforward. Sometimes you just want a little bit of health and you drain life. It actually does pretty decent. It's pretty DPM efficient if you factor in the healing and the damage component to it as well. Again, like I mentioned earlier, drain tanking is sort of the meta of Warlock leveling right now. You can also proc the Nightfall talent. You can also proc the Nightfall talent, and this spell's interaction with Fell Concentration, which we'll get into later, is a talent 5 out of 5, gives you 70% pushback resistance against drains. Feels so good, let me tell you, man. It only says it's 70%, but it feels like very reliable, it feels very good. So Drain Life, one of my favorite Warlock abilities as well. Drain Soul, this is kind of trended in the wrong direction amongst the Warlock community as a sustain tool. You can get Imp Drain Soul to practice Soul Siphon buff, which will give you this thing. It's a buff that makes you apparently regenerate a bunch of mana. It basically nets out TLDR to 5 spirit ticks, whether you're doing it inside or outside of the 5-second rule. Drain Soul is definitely something you can utilize. If you use rank 1 Drain Soul and you use it in the later levels, it does make you more money. In the early levels, if you use rank 1 Drain Soul, then the mana cost of the rank 1 Drain Soul, in addition to the fact that it interrupts your spirit-based mana regeneration, often actually puts you in like a negative gain. So it's something to keep in mind. Used to create soul shards though, so that's how you create a soul shard. You have to kill the target while Drain Soul's on it, pretty much. Okay. And honestly, this, I don't even agree with. I said only rank 1 is used. Sometimes you want to use a higher rank of it. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too much into it. Drain mana, this is something, seems kind of underwhelming, but in PvP, it's a great tool. Sometimes you're fighting a paladin, you're fighting someone, fighting a priest, a shadow priest, especially I use against shadow priest. They're fighting with you, you're trading cooldowns back and forth, you realize that your enemy's at 50% mana, and you go, alright man, this guy's pretty healthy right now, I'm pretty healthy right now, he's at 50% mana, he doesn't have a ton of mana, you know. I'm just going to throw up tongues on him, I'm going to shift, I'm going to pivot, I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to pivot away from that offensive win condition, and I'm going to go play the attrition game, and I'm just going to start draining his mana. I'm just going to start draining this guy's mana. And it'll add up, man, it'll add up if you get that, you know, keep that drain ticking on him, and, you know, drain all the mana on a priest, drain all the mana on a paladin. It's harder to do it on mage because they just have so much damn mana. But against paladin and mage, I really like it. It's hard to use it against druid because they go animal form and then you can no longer drain them and they just start ticking back up again. Something to keep in mind, health funnel, this is what heals your pet. I don't really use it that much. This is something maybe I could explore using it more. I usually just bandage the pet. You know, health funnel interrupts your 5-second rule, and you're also not doing anything offensive while you're channeling it. It's just something to keep in mind, man. Just something to keep in mind. Health funnel. Alright, next up is the amplification spells. Here we go. We're on a Curse of Elements. All these amplification spells are pretty much must-have dots, or must-have debuffs. Next up is in a raid environment, Curse of Elements, Curse of Shadows, Curse of Recklessness. Curse of Elements is going to reduce fire and frost resistance, increase fire and frost damage taken by 10%. Curse of Shadow does the same, or Shadow and Arcane resistance. So the weird thing a lot of people may not realize is the Curse of Shadow increases Arcane damage. Not just Shadow, it's Arcane damage. Arcane damage. So interesting there. They don't do damage, so you can have something seduced, and you can throw it. You can throw these up on it. It's not going to break the seduce. You feel me? Like it's something that's CC polymorph, so you can throw this up on, and that's often going to combo. You seduce them, you control them in some way. You throw up Curse of Elements or Curse of Shadow, depending on your spec, and then you get the max range and you crank up a big wombo combo on them, right? Amplify Curse, another Amplify. Again, it only works on weakness, agony. It works on weakness, agony, and exhaustion. Alright, so Curse of Recklessness, we talked about like kind of the utility control aspect of it. It amplifies physical damage, so it increases melee attack power on the target by 90, and it increases the melee attack power of the target by 90. So it actually increases the damage dealt by that target. So there's actually a drawback to it, very much plentiful with the whole Warlock, you know, schema. But it reduces armor by 640, so that's the main value add towards you, the main beneficial thing, right? But also there's the utility aspect of it as well. Also, if something has Curse of Agony on it and you want to control it, right? You want to remove that dot, that damage over time, you can throw up a Curse of Recklessness, or you can throw up a Curse of Weakness on it. Just remove that dot so you can control it and it won't break it. Okay, a lot of talking here. A lot of talking, one take. Tap spells, life tap. We talked about this earlier. This is your bread and butter right now. This is an amazing ability. Both of these abilities, I cannot stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot stress this enough. These abilities do not interrupt your spirit-based mana regeneration. They do not interrupt your progression back towards the 5-second rule. You can use them whenever you feel like it. You know, there's really not a lot of other considerations. You should also consider down-ranking these. Maybe not so much with the Dark Pack, but with Life Tap, definitely. Especially like Phase 1, you're heading into like, you know, Kargoz and, you know, 2400 health. You use max rank Life Tap and you're taking out 420 health from me, bro. Like, that's a lot of health, let me tell you right now. You usually want to use like rank 4 or something like that. Keep a couple ranks of Life Tap on your bar. On-demand mana generation, pretty nice. Healers get upset with you because you keep killing yourself. You don't want to OD with it and just Life Tap till you're too low, because then you just have to feel it out, you know? You guys get it, right? Alright, let's keep going. So Dark Pack gets to 40. Let me see if let me see if I missed anything here. Yeah, use this whenever your pet's mana is about to cap. Strong compared to the phased imp. Okay. Yeah, it's something. So whenever you're about to cap health. So one thing to keep in mind: so demon skin or demon armor, right? Demon skin and demon armor. That has a health. So you can't regenerate health in combat, right? You guys know this, right? That's about spirit-based health regeneration only occurs out of combat. Spirit-based mana regeneration can occur in combat, but you have to be, you know, in the 5-second rule. You have to have not used the spell and cast mana for 5 seconds, okay? But on the health perspective, you can only generate, you know, health outside of combat. But because you have demon skin and demon armor, you're going to get some health back while in combat from that buff. So you want to be mindful of that. And if you're about the health cap, you can throw in a life tap right there, so that you're getting value from those ticks of your armor, right? So something to keep in mind. Alright, moving on to the next one. Defensive abilities, Spell Domination. I love this, dude. I love this ability. So good, very strong. Maybe one of the most powerful defensive cooldown you have. It's probably the most powerful defensive cooldown you have as a Warlock. Yeah, it's really, really good. Spell Domination Master Summoner Kit. Really, really good. It's super, super good. And the reason why, and this is kind of a PvP thing, but it allows you to get the right pet out for the job. So you can have the Voidwalk route, which is just your all-around overall best pet for the widest variety of scenarios to occur. But if you go up like against the mage or someone where the Fell Hunter is really going to shine, you can quickly sack it and get the right pet out for the job. And let me tell you, if you feel like you have the right pet out for the job, you feel like you have the upper hand. You feel like you have, you feel like you have the edge if you have the right pet for the job. and it's a 15-minute cooldown though, right? But this ensures that you can have that. You can basically summon your pet in 0.5 seconds. It is still something that can be kicked or whatever. It is still something that can be messed with. So oftentimes maybe you want to like death coil, and then while they're coiled, if you're really cautious, you can coil them and then sack your Voidwalker, resummon, resummon your pet, reapply Soul Link, all within the death coil, and then just go right into it. You don't have to worry about fearing them out of the death coil. Oftentimes you can just go for it. So Fell Domination really good. Also in PvE, man, like your Voidwalker dies or something, and like there's mobs, running at you. You can resummon another one. You can resummon whatever you want. Fell Domination, very good. Soul Link, I love this, dude. Love Soul Link. Soul Link, so good. Soul Link, last talent in the Demonology tree. You have to be level 40 to get it. It takes, when active, 30% of all the damage you take is taken. 30% of all the damage you take is taken by your pets. Your Imp, Voidwalker, or Succubus. Oftentimes you get the best value is when you have a Voidwalker. He's a big meaty boy. He can take a beating, right? So it doesn't. This doesn't mitigate damage. It just redistributes damage, right? But it's effectively, because if you do sack your Voidwalker to get value from it, it's effectively kind of a 30% damage mitigation on you, like a 30% damage mitigation. Doesn't matter if it's spell damage, if it's physical damage. This is a very big deal. It makes Warlock's effective HP so high, makes them very strong, right? And also this paired with was it Master Demonology, you get the 10% physical. You get the 10% physical damage reduction for both yourself and your Voidwalker. It just makes Soul Link Warlocks very tanky. It is a buff that you have to apply. It doesn't just stay on you. You have to actually put it on you. And even after you sack your pet and you resummon your pet, you have to reapply the Soul Link. It's just not there again. You have to reapply Soul Link. You feel me? So that's something you got to do. You also get 3% damage from it. 3% damage. Look at the very bottom. Both the Demon and the Master will inflict 3% more damage. So there's an offensive component to it as well. Not dispellable off the Warlock or pet on the beta. Not something people are able to do. Which is you love to see that. You love to see that. Major Hellstone, that's your lock candy. You can keep a couple different ranks in your bag if you want. If you have Warlocks with different ranks in them, you can't all pop them simultaneously to share the same cooldown. But it's like a potion, man, and you can use this. It doesn't share the potion cooldown though, so you can potion and Major Hellstone and just shoot your health back up, man. You can shoot your health back up. Very, very strong thing. People don't use this enough in raids. That's another reason why you just chew through shards in a raid, because people should be asking you for Hellstones all the time, and you're pretty much going to use every opportunity to drain soul on targets in raids, on trash or whatever. And that's another reason why you're kind of a little bit lower on the meters, because you can't go full pump mode. You have to literally drain soul all the time to make sure you keep a good reservoir of shards. So card consumable. You can't go full pump. You have to literally drain soul. All right, they can crit. Also, major decision. Soulstone, this is wipe adventure in the raid scenario. You can put this up on the tank or the healer, whatever people want, or even on yourself if you have like a surplus of them or whatever. But it does have a cooldown, so most oftentimes you're just going to put it on the tank. It's a conjure consumable when you're out there questing by yourself, or if you're in a duo, you can put it on yourself. So if you die, you can get to a safe location and die, and you come back to life, or you can put it on your duo partner, and he can come back to life, which is pretty sweet. Requires a soul shard to create. You guys get Soulstone, right? Alright, Sacrifice. This is your Voidwalker ability, the shield I was talking about. For your major defensive tool. Really, really good. One thing you can do, even when raiding, Sacrifice is pretty useful, especially when you're going through progression and you're under geared and stuff. Like week 1 Rag, I may end up using the Voidwalker on week 1 Rag as SM Ruin, so I can sack him and get a band-aid off. You can sack him, and it absorb obviously allows you to get off channels much better, right? You're not going to experience interruptions, so you can channel a drain life, you can bandage yourself, you can do whatever you want to do. So Sacrifice is very good. PvP very good. Oftentimes, you can sacrifice it as it melees up in your face, and then just try and get as much value as you can out of drain life, and then make use of the other stuff that isn't channeled after the shield dissipates. Major spells, when we talked about this, it's kind of like a local shadows type thing. Shadow Ward, very good. Suffering, maybe Tom. A lot of this we've already covered. Control abilities, Fear, man. Fear is good. Phase 1, no trinkies, dude. Gonna be very limited ways to get rid of Fear. Very limited ways. You're not gonna have any PvP trinkets. So, Alitair, another Fear. This is 2-second cast AoE Fear, right?
Charging.
Seduction, the seduce of Warlock Death Coil, very good. You get this at what, 46? 46 you get Death Coil? You get it's 40 some you get. We're gonna look at the ability progression in a second. Super high tempo instant cast. It not only deals a very nice amount of damage, it also heals you. So you can also just tap into it. I use Death Coil pretty much on cooldown while raiding. I know you can use it as a little bit more defensively to heal, but while raiding and stuff, I'm pretty much always using Death Coil. I'll do like a max rank life tap into a Death Coil and regenerate that health. And it will also make the person run away in...
Alright, we're going to go with Succubus because she's going to punch really hard.
When they're death coiled, that's like the hardest form of CC you have. When you death coil, you're like free to do what you want for those 2 seconds, and you gotta really make sure seconds count. So oftentimes, like 8 out of 10 times, when you death coil into a fear. You death coil into a fear. It's very, very good. Okay. So Cursor Tongues, like I said, one of my favorite abilities, dude. It slows the casting time by a whopping 60%. Put this on a shaman, put this on a paladin, put this on anyone that really, put this on a caster of any sort. I mean, it's going to do, it feels really terrible when you have Cursor Tongues on you, right? Some classes get a bit more than others. What do you think? Paladin and shaman are probably the most impacted by this. Mages do have lots of instances we were talking about earlier on the Magus cast. Devastating cast speed reduction. It's an S tier debuff that you want to get off. The only classes that can remove curses, by the way, in the game, only classes that can remove curse is what? Druid and Mage, right? You can use stuff like Restorative Potion. There's stuff people can do to get off curses, but the only classes that can remove curse is Druid and Mage. And like a Legion or something like that, the Druid's going to be doing his things, and he's running the flag or doing whatever. So, Cursor Tongues, love Cursor Tongues. Curse of Exhaustion, we went over that before. This is your on-demand slow, 10% really not too great. You don't really feel it too much when you just have the base level of the spell. 10% it feels kind of trivial to a certain extent. You really feel the impact of the spell once you either amplify it or get improved Curse of Exhaustion, or at least get it up to the 30%, right? Spell Lock, we talked about this. Banish, we talked about this. Boss, too much fun for everything. Okay, here's some AoE ones. We'll talk about these, then we'll be done with abilities. So, Hellfire, channeled ability, deals massive damage to all enemies around you, but also deals massive damage to yourself, right? It takes every 1 second, not 2 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever it is, lasts 15 seconds. So the interesting kind of revelation I had with Hellfire the other day was that there's a talent in the destruction tree. You can get it as early as 26 to get both talents into it. They give you 70% pushback resistance on Hellfire and Rain of Fire. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, my friends. The 70%,
He's hardcore.
Journey started with Fel concentration, and putting that into practice and seeing how that 70% pushback resistance felt in practice feels really, really good, man. Once you get that on Hellfire, like if you're going to spell clip comp or dual level with the Paladin, I would really want to go that route. Get the pushback resistance for Hellfire. So, and this also allows Warlock to tank a little more effectively. So if you get that 70% pushback resistance from Destro, and then you're on the Alliance side and you have concentration or from Paladins, you complete the circuit and you can literally, pull some mobs and Hellfire them and not get any pushback as you Hellfire them in the face, right? And then if you're Soul Link, you get the damage mitigation we were talking about before. You get 2 health bars, you can benefit with 2 sets of hots, 2 sets of buffs. You get 10% damage mitigation. We'll talk about what I'll take into maybe in another video, but it's something that's really not that much of a meme. You can actually do it. You're going to take more damage than a warrior, but you're also going to be putting out more damage than a warrior and dealing more and having more threat. So that Hellfire is a AoE, pulsing AoE is just within your direct vicinity. Rain of Fire is like a blizzard. You can put it off in the distance and Rain of Fire on stuff, right? There are a lot of stuff that is fire immune, so something to keep in mind. It's also, it also doesn't have like a control component like Blizzard. And then Fire Shield is sort of like AoE damage, right? It does reflect damage to multiple targets at the same time, potentially. Alright, here's the ability progression. So as you're using this guy, while you level, you can, Trick, let me grab that for a second. Charge. So pretty much, here's the ability progression. As you can see, level 1, you can get the Imp Quest, and you can also get Immolate. You can get Imp Quest and Immolate.
Love it.
You might delay yourself getting that Immolate. It's really good. Like if you were just on a clean, empty server, and it's not like the server didn't just open, you have the world to yourself, absolutely go try Immolate if you want. Super worth it. Rank 1 Shadow Bond is a big yikes. And you can do your little wombo combo with Immolate. You can do a Shadow Bond with Immolate. Makes killing those low-level mobs way easier. So good. Getting Imp super early, for orcs at least, it's hard for me to speak for every race, just personal experience here. Not worth getting the Imp right off the bat, rushing it, you spend more time in transit, going over to it, going back, you're going to have to eventually go make that loop again, and it ends up actually just producing a slower start time if you go rush the Imp right off the bat. I'm not going to go through everything, but you're going to notice in the trends here, you get Agony every 10 levels of 8, 18, 28, you get, Torment every 10 levels. You just have a ton of abilities. Look how many freaking abilities you have to go. All of them. So many abilities. So many abilities. So we're going to talk about pets now, Warlock demons, right? So we got the Woodwalker, we got the Fell Hunter, we got the Succubus, which are 3 main bread and butter pets. We also have the Infernal and the Doomguard, which are actually viable and usable, and you should use them. But these are just the main ones, so we're going to talk about these ones. So, Orc Woodwalker, Ornament, like I said, on-demand threat generator. So keep it up until rank 3. You can kind of just use it on autocast.
I don't have a target.
Sacrifice. Yeah, maybe we can just skip through all this stuff. Let's see if there's anything we haven't really covered with regard to these. Okay, Seduction is a 1.5-second cast time. So one of the little combos you're going to do with Seduction, you're going to light everything Soulfire, Shadow Ball on the target, and you're going to connect a bunch of burst damage. You have to time the connection of the damage with the 1.5-second cast. So ideally, if you're playing like an absolute sports pro, you connect the damage, and then right after you connect the damage, Seduce goes off, and they get immediately seduced again, and you get full value of the DR of Seduce before you transition to another player. Now there's batching consideration, there's other stuff to think about, but that's an idea. In a perfect world, you basically max range, Soulfire, Searing Pain, Shadowburn, and immediately seduce again, and at that point, you maybe, depends what spec you are, right? Depends what spec you are. If you were Deathstroke, you would probably Soulfire, Flag, Shadowburn, you would probably do something like that. Second seduction, you wind up another little mini combo, so on and so forth. But that's just something to keep in mind. There's a 1.5-second cast to it. It's also ranged. Alright, Lash of Chain. This is something that's cheap. Adds DPS to the Succubus. You can use the pseudo taunt. You can keep it on off auto cast. Fast forward. You drain things. Soothing Kiss. This is one of the things that even experienced Warlocks are going to tell you this is a meme. They're not going to really understand exactly, what this potential of this ability is. What this potential ability is. So Soothing Kiss increases the chance it will attack something else. Seems like a very bland ability. One thing about this ability, though, it can generate negative threat. I say again, Soothing Kiss can generate negative threat. I will say it one more time. Soothing Kiss can generate negative threat. You can put you in a negative threat position. So what does that mean? That means if you Soothing Kiss before you seduce, after that target breaks seduce, if and when it does break seduce, it will no longer target your Succubus, it will target the next person high up on the threat table. So if you're in a dungeon, it'll probably go after 10 or you or something. Either way, it's not going to go over and just clap your Succubus. You can also use it after the fact that it's seduce. You can just use it to juggle threat in general. It's just something that you actually should have key bound, you should have it on there. It's something definitely within your toolkit, something you can make use of. Not the most kind of blow you away with its massive impact, but it's something that definitely is something you should have down. Alright, the next thing is invisibility. So it's not stealth, it's invisibility. There's stuff that helps you detect invisibility. There's no cooldown. This is something that the Succubus kind of needs to do because it's so flimsy. You kind of need to roll around with it in invisibility. Just keep her on invisibility when you're moving around with her because she's very vulnerable, right? If she goes down, you have no pet.
Okay.
Spot, right? And off when you're PvPing with her, you kind of just want to put her on stay off in a weird location and then open up with her, when the time comes. So that's pretty much it with invisibility. Fell Hunter quest. You're gonna do these quests. What I'll say about the Voidwalker, Succubus, and Fell Hunter quest. And this is at least from the perspective of an Orc Warlock. Take it for what you will, right? Take it for what you will. From the perspective of an Orc Warlock. These quests you can slot in very organically with your questing with your leveling group. You can find a way to create it. If you use the Classic Wild Out Live leveling guide, not to shield that too much, but if you use the Classic Wild Out Live leveling guide, I think you'll be surprised at how efficiently you can group these into your leveling plan. And you're just gonna be leveling normally, feeling like you're going on nice, big, fat, juicy XP per hour, like quest arcs. And you're gonna be like, wow, now I have a Succubus. Wow, now I have a Fell Hunter. This is great, so some of this stuff is definitely doable. Also the Orb of Hill quest as well, that offhand that can heal you. That's another class quest that is definitely something you can root in very cleanly. You just have to find the right guide or make your own guide or whatever it is. So don't think you have to push these into them way later when you're 60. You can actually root them in. They actually end up being an amenity. Warlocks have tons of class quests, and these class quests end up being an amenity. On a fresh one, the only one that really seems like a big deal is the Enchanted Rogue one. It's a good rogue, don't get me wrong. You can craft a bunch of stuff that will spark on it and stuff. There's just not something there that spell like right much. Spell lock, as I was talking about before, it's got that MCS effect, blanket silence for 3 seconds before it locks out the person. It's what is the cooldown? I think it's like 16 seconds. Someone's got a 30-second cooldown. There you go. Yeah, so it's got a bit more of a cooldown. The great thing about the Devour Magic, though, which we're going to go on to right now, it's only an 8-second cooldown, offensive or defensive dispel. That is just absolutely butter butters. So good, so good, man. Fell Hunter, big plays. Even in raiding, man. Even in in rating, let me tell you, man, even in rating, if you're SM Ruin, when you compare SM Ruin and DS Ruin, you're just like, the impact of the pet is too high to miss out. The impact of the pet is too high. Like, it's too much impact. Too much impact. The Fell Hunter has massive impact. It's just way too much impact. You just feel like you can't lose that. Like just even there's always gonna be times where you can dispel a magical debuff off yourself or a friend or whatever. You know, in Molten Core, every single fight, I laid it out on the later slides. How different pets can give you different levels of, you know, just so much impact. You're either removing, you know, a magical debuff from yourself, or you can CS the guy. You can CS a target, right? Or you can rip off a positive buff on the target, on a boss even, or an ad or whatever. So Devour Magic, you're gonna find lots of uses for this. The Fell Hunter also. So one thing about pets in vanilla is they don't have that AoE damage reduction, right? So in later versions of the game, I think they have like a 90% reduction to AoE damage. So your pets can get cleaved down pretty quick, or just die to magical damage. And that's why as a hunter, you want to get resistance cap on your pet, or you want to train the right resistances for the raid, right? The good thing about the Fell Hunter is it starts with a really high baseline level of resistance, so we can actually survive a pretty good amount in the raids, you know what I mean, comparatively to other stuff. So Tainted Blood's probably one of the lesser useful things of Fell Hunter. Maybe this meta hasn't just been explored all the way. This is something that when a target attacks your Fell Hunter, it's going to be hit with this Tainted Blood. You see this little particle effect right here. It stacks up and reduces the melee attack power of that target. So it's effectively some sort of damage mitigation for your Fell Hunter, allowing him sort of to tank. You could probably drain tank with him somewhat effectively. I don't think a lot of I didn't personally experiment with Fell Hunter at all the different levels and see how effective it is as a tank and the damage components of it as well. Just something to keep in mind, Tainted Blood, and the last one is Paranoia. This increases stealth detection. People like to say Paranoia and Perception. The human ratio is so good, you can see rogues from a mile away. It's alright, man. Paranoia's alright, it's free, it just stays on you. It's kind of like an aura. You can pair this with in tandem with other abilities or items that increase stealth detection. Moving on to Warlock talents now. Alright, now we're into the juicy stuff. Affliction tree, we're going to go through everything. So Suppression, very high impact talent. We're going to get into that later. The Improved Corruption, very high impact talent. I mean, I guess I listed them over here. I listed kind of an impact to them. Like I said, there's a lot of really good Warlock talents. Just a lot of really good Warlock talents. Curse of Weakness, kind of a low impact one. Drain Soul, kind of a low impact one based on my personal playstyle, and this could be a higher impact for you. Improved Life Tap, high impact. Improved Curse of Agony, medium impact, kind of really does depend on what kind of build you're going for. From multi-dotted, that single target drain. Improved Drain Soul. Improved. Where did I put this one? This one is pretty high impact, I have to say, because in aggregate, the amount of value this is going to give you across hundreds of mobs is actually pretty good. It looks like it's pretty, not that, it looks kind of underwhelming when you see a 10% damage increase, and you calculate it like, man, it only increases it by this much, but you have to realize it's both damage and healing, and in aggregate, if you're going to be using this 1-2 times every mob, you know, for hundreds of mobs, it will add up and it will move the needle, and it's definitely a pretty high impact thing if you decide to go drain life. Belt concentration, land short, this is one of my favorite talents, and the affliction tree. So good, 70% pushback. Just good PvP, good PvP. I just want to have this on some rating. I just want to get this. Like, I just get this. Belt concentration is just good. Sometimes you have to balance like quality of life out in the world with rating, PvP. All factors considered, belt concentration is nuts. This is the one that gives you 70% pushback resistance on drains. Imp Agony, 6% additional damage on Agony. Amplify Curse, Nightfall, whatever this is called, Grim Reach. This is 6 yards on affliction spells. Improved Drain Mana. This is kind of a meme. It makes your Drain Mana do damage. I haven't really figured out a use case for this so far. Siphon Life, good. Shadow, 1% damage on Shadow. Dark Pack, Exhaustion, Improved Exhaustion buffs us up to 30%, is 10% base plus 20% from this, ends up being 30%. Dark Pack, as we talked about. Anyway, Demonology Tree, link to the presentation is in the description below. So Improved Hellstone, this is kind of a sleeper something that's good. You use Hellstones all the time. This is your main healing. If you think about Hellstone as a heal, just think about it as a heal, not a consumable. You have to just get into the mentality that Hellstone is a healing spell. It's just sitting there. You know, you're buffing your healing spell by a good amount. So Improved Hellstone is actually pretty good. Improved Imp is pretty good if you're going to be utilizing the Imp. Love this. Demonic Embrace, 15% extra stamina, more health on the Warlock. So good. So good, man. So good. Maybe not necessarily while leveling, but especially in PvP, I love this talent, man. this gives Warlocks those ridiculously high health pools. That's 6k health pool in tier 1. Awesome. Reduces your spirit though, something to keep in mind. So spirit is a high value leveling stat, even the Warlocks do benefit less than other classes on both the health and the mana front. We'll talk about that later. And this is a health funnel, kind of low impact as we said before. Yeah, this is improved Woodwalker. It's pretty high impact. Not only does it increase like the efficacy of Torment, but it also increases the efficacy of Sacrifice. I believe Consume Shadows. I have to look at it. But either way, the Sacrifice improved Sacrifice is really nice. Felt Intellect, kind of a medium impact, and it just increases the mana pool of your pads. Again, increasing both increasing. This is considerably worse than the Fell Stamina, increasing the health on your pets for various reasons. I don't want to get into it too much, but Fell Domination, improved Succubus, kind of low impact. This is Fell Domination, Master Summoner. This is Master Knowledge. This is what is this one? What is this one, dude? Not Master Demonologist. This is. I'm trying to remember the name of this one anyway. I forget the name. Demonic Sacrifice, Improved Enslaved Demon. This is essentially not a meme. We're actually going to try and implement and use Cripple, the Doom Guard debuff on Rag. Week 1 Rag. This is something. This talent right here basically gives you 10% more hit on Enslaved Demon. And as you know, in the early stages of vanilla, Warlocks don't have access to much hit here at all. But if you get this talent, it gives you only 6% away from hit cap. It's going to really allow that Enslaved Demon to stick a lot more effectively, and you can also maintain Demonic Sacrifice and basically be kind of a DS Ruin build and still, still like perform in raids. Improved Firestone, this is something that you could implement if you were to really try and min-max and go for the maximum AoE potential of your Warlock, because it does increase fire damage done as well. It's just one of its passive effects of holding it. This is Master Demonologist, Soul Link, and then improved Spellstone. Destro Tree, improved Shadow Bowl. This makes that debuff, that ISP debuff. Bane, this is actually really good. Sleeper Cell leveling talent, very good. Bane is very good. Something I wasn't tracking before in my V2 leveling guide. This is something, another big shout out to Dive here. This reduces the cast time of Immolate, man. This reduces the cast time of Immolate. In addition to Shadow Bolt, right? So it's actually like pretty solid. Like especially if you're multi-dotting, think about all the 0.5 second savings you're gonna have across so many targets. Pretty good. This is the one that makes it days. I think it's Aftermath or something like that. This increases crit, Shadow Burn, improved Lash of Pain is kind of a meme. Improved Firebolt's Eye if you want to front load damage with your imp and then get him bloom faster, so you can have him just sit in a stationary position passively and just regenerate faster. Something to keep in mind. I think it improves the casting time by 1 second or 2 seconds or something like that. This talent down here is what I'm talking about. This is a 70% pushback resistance. Oh no, maybe this one is the top one. I think it's Pyroclasm. Maybe it's not Pyroclasm. I forgot to do it. This gives you 70% pushback resistance on Rate of Fire and Hellfire. It's actually really good. Destructive Reach, 6 more yards on Destro spells. Improved Searing Pain gives you more crit. Shadow Burn, Ruin. This moves up. What's the baseline crit for spells? 1.5. This moves up to 200. So it gives you 100% critical strike damage bonus from your spells. Then you have improved Immolate. This improves. Ember Storm improves fire damage by 10%. This is actually really solid, man. If you sack your imp for 50% fire damage, and you get this, you get a flat 25% increased fire damage, and this is good flag, really good PvP talent. So those are the trees, just from like broad strokes. We're talking about the trees. Well, it's kind of lagging for a second here. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the actual talents, dude. This is the super juicy stuff right now, dude. The actual super juicy, just juicy content right here. All right, so this is the favorite one, man. This is the favorite one right now. Obviously, I'm calling this one ahead of the pack. Shout out to God. Shout out to Alarm. Shout out to the Warlock. Shout out to all the Warlocks out there putting in that work for the past months. I believe in this. It feels really, really good. If I was solo leveling as a Warlock, this would be the way I would do it. So pretty much, we'll go through this as Bobo talents right now. I like going 5 out of 5 in Corruption first off. Some people like to bring it down 2 points just to bring it to the, I think it's only 1 point that brings it down to the global cooldown speed. Yeah, 1 point brings it down to 1.6 rate, so it's close to the global. It's the most high impact point that you can invest in improve Corruption. I like just finishing the damn thing off. It's so good having instant Corruption. Amazing. So pretty much at this point, you have a little bit of flexibility. You can pretty much hit cap yourself against targets 2 levels higher immediately, then go into improve life tap, or you can just get 2 points of suppression first and hit cap against targets 1 level higher than you, because that 3rd point you're not going to get as much value because you're going to like 1% of that hit isn't going to be that impactful. So you could go 2 point suppression and then go into 2 life tap and then get the 3rd point suppression after. Doesn't matter that much. You're going to be these early levels are just going to blast by anyway, but you know, there's 3 suppression, 2 improved life tap, then you go into Fell Concentration right after factor. That may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but it's just so good, man. And here's the thing, you're not even really going to be using your drains that much until later, but I kind of just like getting it over and done with right now. The drains are just good. You could find yourself into a sticky situation early on. You pull too many mobs, you know, there's a guy on you, your pet dies, whatever. I think just spell concentration is just so solid. You're setting yourself up in the future so you can start drain tanking at 30. So then you get Grim Reach 6 yards, you're pulling better, you know, you just have extra range on your affliction spells, Amplify Curse, you get 2 into improved Drain Life. Like I said before, Drain Life, it seems like a meme, it seems like, damn dude, you're doing the math, and crunching the numbers, doesn't add that much to it. But in aggregate, across all the mobs, hundreds of mobs, you're going to be dispatching with Drain Life, using it every single mob. It's going to make you a lot of money, man. It's going to make you a lot of money. You have a good time using this. So I like Siphon Life at 30 on the dot. I was talking to Dive about this. He doesn't think it's that great. Rank 1 is that great. I think it's good, man. I like it. I like it personally at 30. It feels right. You throw it on. If I had to pick 3 dots on the target, I'm more often than not being a little bit more defensive than maybe other Warlocks. I'm going to go with Agony, Corruption, and a Siphon Life. Some people would want to put Immolate in place of that Siphon Life. Some people might want to put all 4 dots on it, but it feels sometimes that 4 dots is kind of overkill. Then we get Exhaustion at this point, and then we get 3 points. We get all points into Shadow Mastery very early. Attack at 40, Nightfall 2 points up to 42. Delay Nightfall. All right, here's one thing. You may think Nightfall is like amazing. You may think Nightfall is like so good for leveling.
Too good.
It's a fantastic talent. Don't get me wrong. Nightfall is fantastic. It's really good at PvP. It's really good at PvP. Oh, you can't see the full talent order because it's shifted over. I'll just move it over here for a second so you can see it. All right, so pretty much. Here's Nightfall, right? You can get this a lot earlier, right? But here's the thing, you don't really use Nightfall that much while leveling, like just on your average mob, right? 1, it just makes it instant. It doesn't reduce the cost. It's still going to cost you a nice little chunk. 2, oftentimes by the time it procs, the mob's like almost dead, and you're trying to work your way back towards that spirit-based mana regeneration. So if you use it, you're going to interrupt it again, and you're going to kind of be screwed, you know? Like you would use it in a situation where maybe, I don't know, you're just going to move. You don't mind that kind of like DPM inefficiency. Like you don't mind just taking a little bit of L. You're just gonna go back to Hammer Ball and turn in a bunch of quests, right? You're using a Nightfall target, you don't man as you're heading back and turn in a bunch of quests, right? But Nightfall seems like this amazing talent you would want to rush down for. From a PvP perspective, absolutely, is so good. But it ends up being something you don't really use that much in just your average mob-to-mob rotation. So delaying it a little bit so you can front load some of this drain stuff is really solid. Then you go work your way down to get shave off the time. The cast speed time on Immolate, right? Because if you're using your Succubus to drain tank, which we'll get into more later, you don't really need this Imp Void talents. What are these talents doing for you, man? Like Imp Hellstones, you're not using the Imp. Demonic Embrace is reducing your spirit. You're not getting this. Improved Void Walker, you're not even using your Void Walker. Like, what is this stuff really doing for you, right? This does so for you. Shaving off 0.5 on Immolate, man, that makes it a much more attractive spell to use. And you also get Shadow Burn. So I really like this spell. Really, really good. And you can finish off Suppression. There's one change you possibly could do, and it might actually be optimal, man. Honestly, just instead of getting Nightfall or something, finding a way to front load these last 2 points into suppression. 5 out of 5 suppression is kind of the way, guys. Here's your thing. People are going to say, Kargoz, I'm not really going to be fighting. I'm not going to really be fighting, mobs that are super high level. You know what I mean? Only be fighting level appropriate mobs. Only be fighting mobs that are like 1, 2 levels above me at max, right? If you're trying to get like big, juicy quest rewards, like weapon upgrades and stuff, like you're trying to get the Chill Mill Splinter for Warlock, and you have to go kill High Warlord or whatever his name is, or you have to go kill some high level elite, rare spawn, whatever. You're in Ashenvale, you have to kill Sharp Claw or Sharp Talon, whatever that big Griff's name is. These guys are elites, they're high level, like if that fear gets resisted, you're done, like you could die, and that's just mad. Like, you're actually gonna fight some targets that are high level, is what I'm saying, and it's good, like for dungeons or whatever, that stuff. Make sure your fear, or making sure your fear connects.
That spell is
potentially never have to die, man, if your fear is connecting and stuff, right? So this is going to allow you to fear targets that are way higher level, and then basically open up all the possibilities at that point. So 5 out of 5 suppression has really grown on me over the months and stuff like that. So that's something you may want to actually go do. But again, some stuff might just be up to personal preference. Let's look at some of the pros and cons of this build. Incredible single target sustain. It really is. It's an embarrassment. Absolutely embarrassment.
charging. That spell is brilliant.
So high single target damage, seduce offers a defensive PvP option. So you are using your Succubus and it does offer you a defensive option. It does, and situationally in PvP, like very situational, I think it might provide more impact than even your Voidwalker in PvP, because you can actually fear one target and seduce another target. So especially if you're fighting multiple targets, man, definitely something to consider. I don't know, based on my playstyle, I pretty much always prefer the Void Owl over the Succubus and what you do. Like, each their own, and everybody's their own different playstyles and stuff like that. So, yeah, 70% pushback resistance, Nightfall procs, Dark Pack. Once you get that Dark Pack at 4, man, forget about it. You're just going to be Dark Packing your Succubus, like living a good life. Yeah, you have the Curse of Exhaustion, Dark Packing from the Medallion loop. You know, it's a little bit more, not as good as it could be, right? Because you're not getting the improved Curse of Exhaustion, but it's still something you do have that you can use for a little bit. Reduce cast time on Immolate. The cons, low multi-dotting potential. So this is kind of like a single target type of deal. If you have the Succubus out, you're not killing 2 targets at a time, you're killing 1 more efficiently, and you're killing it with higher sustain. So you're going to have lower capacity of dispatching multiple mobs at the same time, something that a Voidwalker is going to excel more than a Succubus at. Also, cons is you're investing into these drain talents, but wands are going to perform better than drain until the 30s, man. Wands, I'm going to say again, wands are going to perform better than drain until the 30s. Wands are going to perform better than drain until the 30s. And when I say that, it's mainly like Gravestone Scepter. You really should be getting Gravestone Scepter if you're a Warlock. I don't care if you're a Alliance or a Warlock. It really is so good. There's a lot of stuff you can do over there in BFT. There's some free quests. You can use the Talon Deep Path to just cut through Ash. You can cut through Stone Talon into Ashenvale and be already like more than halfway over towards Zormgar to pick up all those quests. You go out there, you can get the blue pearls as well, so you can invest into another wand later down the road. You can just go turn that quest into the Badlands. You can go kill the sorceresses out there, get the damn note. There's like 4 or 5 quests that you do out there at BFT. I think it's 100% worth it if you can blast through it with a good group. I'm dual leveling with the priest, so we're both going to get Gravestone Scepter at like 25, 26, probably like 26. Man, really, really good. So that's one con. Your wands are going to be performing better, but even though they perform better, you're still going to need to drain life because you're still just wanting to keep yourself in a healthy resource position, right? So sometimes you just need a little bit of health and you're going to drain life, like even if it's not as much DPS or EPM optimal or whatever. So flimsy of ambush, no Voidwalker sack, no fell nomination, master summoner package. That's a downside for show. That is a faux show downside. All right, so pretty much we're going to go into the multi-dotter excellent duo spec. This is what I'm going to go. This is personally what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I am personally going to spec my Warlock in less than 24 hours. I'm going to implement this specialization. This talent spec is going to be the talent spec that I implement. And there's some differences here to the drain one. As you can see, we don't have any drain talents because I'm going to be dual leveling with a priest. The priest's main role and responsibility is to provide some damage, but mainly the reason why priests are so good in the duo is the sustain. A priest combo with anyone else, they're just going to get insane sustain to that person. Even if they're not connecting with every spirit tap, it's all good. Even if they get 1 in 5 spirit taps, they just offer an abundance of sustain. So he's going to be ramping up my damage potential. So I need to pump. I need to do good damage. I need to invest in the maximum damage of my dots. So I'm going to improve Curse of Agony, right? I'm not going to get Fell Concentration. Why do I not get Fell Concentration? Even though Fell Concentration is so good and I'm ranting and raving about it, because I get an on-demand absorb. I can call for it. I go, hey, Philescent, what's up, man? Can I get that bubble? And then I can drain if I want to, right? And improve drain life. So I'm getting Curse of Agony. I'm getting improved Curse of Exhaustion. This is something that a good PvP tool. Again, we're going to have access to the full infinite value loop of Curse of Exhaustion with Dark Pack, which is pretty nice. Also, let's see any of the difference. I'm getting Nightfall earlier. So yeah, I'm getting Nightfall earlier. Think about this, dude. Think about this. Okay? I'm saying Nightfall, not the most DPM-y efficient thing ever. Sometimes you're going to interrupt your 5 second. It doesn't matter. If you have amazing sustain, you have a priest heal, and you just go for it. Nightfall to your heart's content. Nightfall to your heart's content. Just Nightfall. So I kind of rush Nightfall, or I get it a lot earlier than the other one. Also Shadowburn. Once I do get Shadowburn online, I can probably just Shadowburn, willy-nilly. You just have to feel it out. A lot of this stuff is based on feel, but this is the difference. It's a multi-dotting spec. I'm using Voidwalker for the most part. We'll feel it out. We might end up having the Succubus. We'll see how it goes. Highly proficient, killing multiple mobs at the same time, and damage over time. Spells very strong with dual leveling with the healer. Strong defensive options through the Voidwalker. As you can see, we did get a Voidwalker in this because that is the better choice for multi-dotting, which is nice. Reduced immolate cast time. No fell concentration is a con. Lower single target damage using the Voidwalker comparatively to like a range daggers or some other type of build that I could have gone. No fell domination master summoner, that does feel bad, man, and no hit Voidwalker till late. So yeah, I'm getting a Voidwalker late, so it's kind of actually a non-fact I'm getting a Voidwalker. Anyway, spent a lot of time building this out. This is the build I'm going to roll out with. Also getting that 5 out of 5 suppression. That's one last point I'm going to make about this build. When you're dual leveling, oftentimes you're going to get through the content faster, you're going to complete the quest faster, right? You're going to get to the Barons, you're going to be like 11 and a half. Like if you were solo and you're going to do all of Durtar, you'd get to the Barons in like 12, right? If if you're duo, you're going to get there like 11 and a half, right? But you're going to get there faster potentially than that solo player, right? You're going to clear out the quest faster potentially. So oftentimes you may be a little bit lower level for a certain zone, and that just, that's another point to, to justify the suppression, because you may be doing stuff that may be another level higher than you or something like that. And we're going to be pushing it, trying to get like big wand upgrades as early as possible, killing stuff that's higher level potentially. So this is something that I do value, getting this 5 out of 5 suppression. Okay, moving on to the last, oh no, there's two more. The PvPer, this is something you're going to respect to at 45. Some people are going to be leveling in the middle of the pack. If I had to level for some ungodly reason in the middle of the pack, I'd probably just go dungeon. I'd probably just go spell bleed. But if I was forced to level in the middle of the pack out in the open world, I'd probably go this build. I would get Soul Link. I would get improved corruption. You can get both by 45, so I would just go another standard spec up to 45 respec, so you get 5 out of 5 improved corruption. You can also maintain Soul Link. Extremely hard to kill. Maintains instant corruption. Very strong pets. Increased health pool. 10% damage mitigation. 70% pushback with spell concentration. 0.5 second. Yeah, we have the Master Summoner Demonologist, whatever. Fell Domination Master Summoner. Cons, lower single target damage, no siphon life with this build, slow immolate cast, no curse of exhaustion, no dark pack, no shadow mastery. Tanky, robust PvP spec. I really can't imagine another class that's going to outvalue you out in the open world. If you're just leveling specs with all the classes and you're out there at 45, like what class is going to take you out? Like really none. Okay. The Emperor. A lot of people are obsessed with the Imp. They love the Imp. They wanna use the Imp as much as possible. They believe in the Imp. Here you go, guys. You can go ahead and get that 2 points into improved corruption, and then go straight in, or you can just get 1 point in improved corruption. Either way, it's up to your taste. You can, just try and get that first juicy point into improved corruption, bring it down at a global cooldown, and then you can go get the imp stuff immediately, so you can just get maximum value from your imp. And then you can see how it progresses. If you really want to, you can go pick up this improved firebolt talent and help him front load his damage a little bit quicker, so you can get him passively regenerated faster. I'm not going to go through everything again, but in the written guide, you'll be able to click this and see all ordered operations there as well. Now we're going to get into gameplay mechanics. Gameplay mechanics. Here we go, guys. Gameplay mechanics. This is big stuff you're not going to want to miss. How does spell hit work? As a spellcaster, you will always have a 1% chance to miss with your spell. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll just always have a 1% chance to miss with your spells. What does it look like when you miss with your spell? It's going to say resist. Against a target at the same level, you have a 4% chance to miss, so 3% is needed to cap, right? Because you always have that 1% chance to miss, right? Against a target 1 level higher than you, it's 5 and 4. Against a target 2 levels higher than you, it's 6 and 5. That's why we want to get 3 points in suppression, gives you 6% hit, right? So 5% is needed for cap, so this 3 points in suppression will bring you up to hit cap against targets 2 levels higher than you. 1 is sort of wasted, not wasted, but you see what I'm saying, you don't get as much value from it, so that's why you may want to go 2 points into suppression, get the life cap and stuff, and then finish off that 3rd point after the life caps. Here's where it really breaks off though. Mobs 3 levels higher than you have 17% chance to miss, 16% hit is needed for the cap, so that's just a big drop off. See that big just drops off a freaking cliff at that point. Alright, so important suppression, we talked about it. This is, just read this talent as increases your hit chance with affliction spells by 10%. Very good, very, very good. Most of the abilities you're going to be using while leveling are going to be affliction spells. Immolate is not. Here it is. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the vast majority of spells you're going to be using while leveling are going to be afflictions. This is just very, very good, especially while leveling. How does spell damage work? Alright, how does spell damage work? This is something, really nailing down fundamentals of this conceptually is still something I'm very much learning. It's something I've really solidified recently. So pretty much spells below level 20 are subject to a penalty to their spell power coefficient. So spell power coefficient is calculated as a function of the spell's base cast time. Not its improved cast time, it's base cast time. So dots are done in a slightly different way, but pretty much so. I'll read this, alright? Okay, here we go. Alright, let me read this for you, so I don't want to butcher it. I want to make sure to be careful with my words here, right? Because I don't want to mess it up. Gear you equip with plus spell damage on it is added linearly to your total plus spell damage. However, spells benefit differently from your total plus spell damage based on something called the spell power coefficient. Spell power coefficients are based on the spell's base cast time or dot duration, and are balanced around 3.5 seconds for casted or channeled spells, and a 15-second duration for dots. So for casted and channeled, it's balanced around a 3.5-second cast time. For dots, it's based around a 15-second cast time, right? So spells below level 20 will get a penalty to their spell power.
Trying to work out where this mob is.
Rotation section below, and you will receive less value from the spell damage. Okay. So basically, TLDR, spells below level 20 won't achieve as much value from those plus spell damage gear. Not to say there's really much at that level range in general. Cast and channel spells with a shorter cast time than 3.5 seconds, and dots with a running duration less than 15 seconds will receive a reduced amount of your plus damage, right? That's why you see Shadow Ball with a 0.857. 0.857 spell power coefficient as opposed to just a 1-to-1, because its base cast time is 3. Like we said, 3.5 is the basis, right? And stuff like 15-second duration thing is going to get 100% value of the dot duration. So something that lasts less than that will get less. I hope this makes sense. So you're going to be able to see an example of this, right? So Shadow Bolt's base cast time is 3 seconds. You can improve it with talents to 2.5 seconds. That doesn't mean it gets 0.714. It's going to get 0.857 of the value from it. Okay, that's how spell damage works. How does regen work? All right, so every regen, like, this is another interesting thing. So every character has a 2-second kind of ticker attached to their character, right? So pretty much your ticker isn't the same to the character next to you. You just have this individual ticker attached to your character. And all ticks, whether it might be food, or drinking water, or just energy if you're an energy-using class, or just natural spirit-based ticks, are all subject to the server batching every 2 seconds, right? So this ties into an important concept. So first of all, you can manipulate that in a couple of ways, especially to like move and drink at the same time. But I want to tie this into another concept, the 5-second rule. Most of you have heard of this at this point. The 5-second rule refers to the fact that after you cast a spell that costs mana, and I say that specifically because like Life Cap doesn't cost mana, Dark Pack and Life Cap function in that same way. So pretty much, because it doesn't cost mana, it doesn't interrupt your 5-second rule, your natural spirit-based mana regeneration, right? Like if you use, for example, so you won't start to regen until after 5 seconds have passed, after you used a spell that costs mana. But because, I want to go back up here, because once you realize that the server batches these regen ticks every 2 seconds, you have to realize that 5-second rule could actually be up to 7 seconds. It could be up to 7 seconds. If you get unlucky and you just batched and you're at the beginning of a new 2-second batch window, you could wait up to 7 seconds before you receive your next spirit tick, right? So let's say that there's a mob in front of me, right? I dotted it up, my succubus is on it, it now decides to transition and come over and decides to attack me, right? So I'm going to cast a Drain Life on it. Drain Life lasts how many seconds? 5 seconds, right? So at the end of this Drain Life, I'm potentially going to receive a tick of mana based on my natural spirit-based mana regeneration. But I may not. So I have to reach a consensus in that little window of, do I re-up my Drain Life, or do I cast another spell immediately, or do I wait to get that first tick of mana back before doing something, before casting another spell, right? So pretty much, you're going to want to have an energy tracker. I don't have one currently set up. On Classic, I need to get one. If anyone knows of a good add-on that tracks like the energy ticks, rogues use it for their energy ticks as well, because it works in the same way. Definitely share it with the Warlock community so people can do that. Pretty much every class can benefit from one. And I think that's all I wanted to say about regen. Like about 5-second rule. Alright, spirit-based mana regeneration. So here's the formulas for both health and mana for Warlock. Interesting stuff to note. Warlock benefits the least on the health side of things. It benefits the least, and Warriors benefit the most. You also have to realize though that Warriors don't benefit from the mana component of Spirit, right? So they're going to receive, it's just not applicable for them on the mana. So it makes sense they're going to receive the most from Spirit. Spirit's a very, very good stat for everyone leveling, but particularly for Warriors, Warriors and Rogues particularly actually really benefit a lot from it, right? But on the health side, I wonder if Blizzard also balanced this around the armor with the Warlock that's giving you some passive health regeneration through the armor as well. They probably did, most likely. So on the mana front over here, you can see that Warlocks also benefit kind of at least from the mana side of things. But with that said, there's something I really want to drive home. Health and mana are just reservoirs of resources, right? You need just enough to successfully win that fight and move on to the next fight. You need just enough, right? You need just enough. So stacking a bunch of health and raw mana past that point of like just surviving that engagement is not completely useless, but has a massive like kind of a diminishing return to it, right? So spirit actually affects cash flow. It actually affects your regeneration, right? It doesn't affect the reservoir. It affects the rate at which you regenerate. It gets you back into that combat ready state again. So even though you do receive kind of a reduced value, it still is a high value stat to pursue. All right. So pretty much that is what I would say about that. All right, importance of a dot timer. This is a fully fleshed out slide, but I really want to like emphasize this. So I'll put this on the screen here. Curse of Agony, like I said, right? You get all your money from Curse of Agony on those last 4 ticks. This is a 20. Just imagine this is 24 seconds. Every 2 seconds you get a tick of agony, right? This is kind of a good visual way of laying it out. Shout out to Dive for doing this. Your first 4 ticks of agony, just imagine doing 1 damage. Your next 4 ticks of agony, imagine doing 2 damage, and your last 4 ticks of agony, imagine doing 3 damage. You have to realize that these last 4 ticks of agony do triple the damage of the first couple ticks of agony. You do not want to clip into these. You want to get value from these. You don't want to reapply Curse of Agony before you get value from these last 4 ticks. I can't stress that enough. That is a very, very important thing. And having a dot timer add-on that's going to show you, like in a little clock, when your dot's going to fall off is going to really help prevent you from clipping into those dot values. Okay. So dot timer, very good ones. I think the one I got is called Nug Runner on the classics. On classics, it's all set up, all good. So the next one is pet control. We're going to talk about pet control. All right, as a best practice, especially if you guys are new to Warlock, I highly advise you guys to keep your pet on passive at all times and keep all abilities off autocast. I want you guys to keep it off autocast. Now, like in practice, you don't necessarily always have to do this. You can keep like from 10 to 30. Pretty much you can keep Torment on autocast, right? And then, if you're kind of a ghetto way of doing this too is if you have something on autocast or pet's getting low on mana, you can just take it off autocast for a little bit and just manually put it on and off. But just to develop those fundamentals of pet control, if you're new to it, I suggest just learning the best practices now, man. You're just going to have better pet control if you level that way for a while. So pretty much pet on passive, all abilities not on autocast, and get used to controlling your pet and remembering to do stuff with your pet, right? Remembering that you have to send your pet in, if you want him to attack. If something attacks you and your pet is on passive, your pet's not going to do anything, it's just going to stand there, which is good. So you have to remember always to control your pet. And I have a good system for doing this. I'm going to share with you guys a good system to do this. So pet on passive with all abilities, off autocast is like just the best practice. You can't go wrong with it, controlling all abilities automatically. But with that said, I don't want to be too much of a stickler on it. In practice, you can put stuff on autocast, man. Like, it's just to develop good habits, right? All right, how do I micro my pet efficiently? That's what we're going to talk about now. So pet micromanagement. This is a system that works for me. It's not the best system. It may not be the best system, but it works for me. I think it's something that pretty much you guys could benefit from. You could be a hunter player. You could be a warlock player. It's a really good system I believe in. Maybe it's also partially biased that I am a lefty. I do control. My mouse is on the left side of my keyboard, believe it or not. Mind blown. My keyboard is on the right side of my body, so I have it scooted way over, so my binds are probably different from your guys. But anyway, there's massive value in compartmentalizing like the location of your binds, right? If you have consumables, putting them all in one location. If you have buffs and pet summons, putting them all in one location. Not only on the action bars, but on your keyboard. Like compartmentalizing it keeps it clean, and it's not just a big sloppy soup sandwich, you know what I'm saying? So pretty much the way I do pets is I put all pet stuff on my mouse. My mouse controls my pet. I don't have to think about it, man. All my pet is just my mouse. All right? So if something's happened with my pet, I do it with my mouse. Everything you can do with your pet, you can do on your mouse. Aside from some targeting mechanisms, if you want to target yourself and dispel like a sheep off you, I can't fit that on my mouse personally because I only have. This is the exact mouse I have. It's a Sensei. It's a Steel Series Sensei. I know it's probably not the most flashy mouse or whatever. It's kind of a cheap mouse, like $50, but I'm a lefty man and I can't use those big mouses that are curved over for the righties that have all the buttons on it. So this offers me 2 buttons on each side and a mouse wheel. I'm good to go at that point. So pretty much scroll up on the mouse wheel. That's how I deploy my pet out to attack. Very simple system, you don't have to think about it, it just becomes second nature. Scrolling down on the mouse wheel will recall my pet and send it back to me. That's going to be like a pet follow or a pet. There's a couple ways of doing it. And then depressing the middle mouse button down, so clicking it down, just tapping it down, the mouse button can be depressed. That puts my pet on stay. Just the really basics of control there. Then on the right side of my mouse, I have pet ability 1 and 2. This is often like seduce and invisibility on my succubus, on my voidwalker that's torment and suffering. You can kind of put them into little buckets as well. And then on the left side of my mouse, so I have 2 more binds on this side, or I did it the other way around. But anyway, on the other side of the mouse, there's 2 more binds. You can use pet ability 3 and pet ability 4. With that said, clean system, it's all done. Pets on the left side, pets on your mouse, you're good to go. That's pretty much all you need, man. I mean, there could be more sophisticated ways of doing it, but this works for me, and I feel like I have a very good control of my pet. All right, so resource control. Again, not a super fleshed out slide here, but talked about spirit-based mana regeneration, aggressively life tapping, weaving in life taps. This is something you can do while leveling. Like, you don't want to sit, you don't want to theoretically be health cap or mana cap, right? So if you're about to hit full health, you have the ability to do something about that. If you're about to be at full health, or if you're sitting at full health and you don't have full mana, you're wrong. life tab, even out your resources, reach that equilibrium so you're getting full value from your ticks on both ends of the spectrum, right? So aggressively life tapping, dark packing, right? You know, learning how to work that that 5-second rule, front loading abilities so that you can finish stuff off with drain life or wand. Another thing I want to point out about drain life, this is how channeled spells work. Really listen to this. You could be any class in the game, and you can benefit from this, right? This is how channeled spell works. I just want to make this clear right now. So a channeled spell, you know, upon starting that channeled spell, so upon starting it, right? I hit keybind 1 and drain life begins. Once drain life begins, you know, my 5-second rule tracker is already started. I'm working my way back towards natural spirit-based mana regeneration, right? So I can get that at the 5-second mark or 7-second mark or whatever, right? But it starts, that countdown starts at the beginning, not at the end. It's not once the channel concludes that it starts. It's once it begins. But with that said, if it's a super long channel, you're not going to receive a tick of that spirit-based mana regeneration until after the channel ends. So if it's a super long channel, like a Drain Soul, it's going to have to conclude. Like, if it's 5 seconds, then once it stops, you're going to get that first tick back. You feel me? So that's just something I want to talk about. So resource control. What are the things I want to talk about? Resource control. You know, bandaging, using bandaging. So like oftentimes you don't have to use Consume Shadows or whatever. Using bandage on your pet, that's free. You can use a bandage in tandem with Consume Shadow, because when you use Consume Shadow or Voidwalker's potato, you have to use it out of combat, and he can't do anything when he's Consume Shadow, right? So if he's really low, you can Consume Shadow and then also bandage him, because he's useless, you're useless, it's all good. Like you can super like full heal him at that point. Anyway, I think that's all it is for resource control. All right, now we're gonna go over the Warlock stats. So we have agility, increases your armor by a little bit. Not really a huge factor for Warlock. You can't potentially. I think that the armor increase your agility is very, very minor. Intellect's going to increase your raw mana pool, increase your chance to critically hit with spells, increase the range of your weapon skills. You guys know this stuff by now, right? Stamina gives you raw health. Spirit increases the rate which you regen health, and mana, it's extra cash flow, right? Strength, not a huge factor for Warlocks. Moving on to stat priority while leveling. I would say spell damage is the #1 thing you would want. This affects, I can just read this. Why is spell damage the most important stat? Spell damage and spirit are the main things that improve your mount-to-mount combat efficiency out of all the stats. Plus damage improves not only your kill times, but improves your damage to mana ratio. Furthermore, the time of execution on the dot is instant cast compared to casted spells, so multi-dotting instant cast dots will net you more value than casted spells. So pretty much, spell damage will again affect that combat efficiency, whereas just like raw stamina, raw health, raw intellect doesn't actually move the needle in terms of like how fast you kill or how fast you regenerate. Right? So spirit is the second most important stat. In the same vein, what I was saying before, you know, yes, you don't receive as much value from other classes on both the health or mana front, but you know, stamina and intellect are just reservoirs, and you just need to survive through the fight. I hope that makes sense. So. Why is spirit the second most important stat? While true that Warlocks benefit less from spirit on both the health and mana fronts compared to other classes, it is the only primary stat that improves your regeneration and gets you back to a combat ready state faster. Yeah, pretty much what I said. I'm not going to repeat it over and over again, but you guys get it, right? Alright, so the Warlock rotation. We're going to go into the rotation now. This stuff is can get kind of crazy now. So the rotation. So okay, here's something to keep in mind about rotation, just a general thing. A lot of it is feel. You can try and theory craft it, which we did, but it's not perfect. A lot of this is feeling, and just know with any class in vanilla, pretty much with any class in vanilla, it's going to be changing. Your rotation is going to be dynamic. It's not just going to be some static thing. You do the same thing all the way to 60. There's a lot of variables that get factored in, right? There is what rank of the spell. When you get new ranks of the spells, it's going to be, you know, and also the different ranks are different in terms of DPS and DPM. So it's not even just that simple. Get a new rank. What do you mean? You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into it. What level the mob is? What type of? Does it have high armor? Does it have high resist? What kind of abilities does it have?
I'm gonna respec. I think what I'm doing is okay.
You know, is it an elite or whatever? There's a bajillion things, right? Your positioning, cooldowns, how much damage does it do? All these things can affect rotation. There's so many little nuances and different deviations to the rotation that just know that this guide is imperfect. Take it with a grain of salt. Make adaptations, make variations to it. You know,
yeah, it's always a guide.
And experience. Once you're out there, you can make those adjustments on the fly. And hopefully this can help you.
But I'm just trying to find some.
So single target rotation 1 to 60. This gets pretty weird. Okay, So levels 1 through 4, I like to open up with a Shadow Bolt into an Immolate against level 1s. Against level 2s, I like to open a Shadow Bolt into an Immolate into a Shadow Bolt. Against level 3, Shadow Bolt, Immolate into a Shadow Bolt. Pretty much the reason why I use Shadow Bolt before Immolate is because it's a projectile and Immolate is not, so they connect at the same time. Allows you to front load better and not get any pushback. Pushback's another consideration. So also, once you see DPM and you see the DPM of both dots and you see DPM of direct damage, you also have to realize it's not, you're not seeing the DPS oftentimes. And also, like stuff like the cheapness of dots, like for example, like Immolate's going to pay for itself in like 1 tick. I think 1 tick of mana at the low levels is like 20 or something like that. So it's pretty much like pays itself back in like 1-2 ticks. So you have to realize that's, you know, you don't want to be too, you don't want to...
Man, this guy's hardcore. This is what you do while you're waiting for once in 15 years.
Anyways, 4 through 6, I like to budget 2 goals, average kill speed about 10 to 12.
It looks like to me there's a few streamers or people, 17,000, 20,000, anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000, or 70,000 subscribers or whatever, frost mages and stuff like that. Those guys who are talking it up, saying this and saying that, they've all gone quiet because I don't think they did as well as they expected, or didn't. Other players worked out things and kept it to themselves and hit 60s like that Joker D, because I went to do the Frost Mage AoE grind and I was finding that the areas that were quoted, Blizzard had implemented changes where the mobs were so much faster. Like, I was killing humans in other areas, and those guys would just walk around really slow, but they were hard to AoE because it was a mixture of casters and melee. But in the areas where it was all melee, these guys were like sprint champions. But anyway.
You're going to be using the head of the pack count spec. You're solo leveling. This is the best play. You know, you're just moving from one target to one target. Corruption into a rank 2 Shadow Bolt, followed by a tap. Is usually the play. 8 to 10. What changes 8 to 10?
That's right, I'm level 24. Yeah, almost 60% of the way to 25. I've got to run a dungeon or two.
I'm not going to go all the way up to 60. It does go all the way up to 60, so we pretty much theory crafted the rotation all the way up to 60. Believe it or not.
I'm going to change my spec because I think it's got good potential, but I think I want a combination. Dude, God, I love this music.
The early wands are high performers. You might think to yourself, why wouldn't I just wand? It's free damage. It does so much damage, right? But you can wand concurrently with the dots.
So completing my Succubus quest, I did it in Undercity and then did it here. Got 212 bag shard bags, and as I always thought, great. It gets put into the bag, the shards, but nothing else to go in, which is I expected. That just meant I was running out of so much room. I never kept 12 of them.
Sometimes your wand's going to be really good, but you're low on health, and you just want to drain life and, you know, get your health back. You don't have any strength and honor, right? So it's not this.
I am interested in some training, my friend.
This is just general guideline. Kill speed is going a little bit slower now, 15 to 18 seconds. This is solo, 18 to 20. Let's look at where it starts getting like super interesting. You're going to be able to see down here as we go through this cost, the damage, the duration, the ticks, the coefficient. Even on these lower levels, you're going to see the coefficient, the spell power coefficient for these lower ranked spells, how much DPM they're doing at the 6-second mark, 12-second mark, 18-second mark. Spells become a lot more comparable once it's all dots and not direct damage, because direct damage and dots are kind of two separate buckets. They're kind of, it's hard, it's like apples and oranges. Like you're comparing apples and oranges. So you're just comparing dots to dots.
Yeah, so
you're going, you're doing your thing, you're leveling up, and it starts to get interesting at 30. I think is a real big thing. You're going to see the slide change kind of dramatically here. All right, so at 30. Something to point out, you get rank 3 Drain Life, so you get a fresh rank of Drain Life. You'll have your Succubus by now, and you also get Siphon Life. You're also, your Gravestone Scepter, which you've obtained probably level 26, 25, is starting to like fall off a little bit.
Wow, that's a massive jump.
Very, very good weapon. Gravestone Scepter is the absolute nuts. But you're going to see a difference in rotation here, so you're going to be using
222
on your Succubus at 30, because you don't have Dark Packs.
90.
Use your mana advantageously, right? There's no reason to turn it off. You're going to use Lash of Pain.
I did have money.
Corruption into a tap so that you can get full value from both the damage and healing component of both Siphon Life and Drain Life. So Dive has a spreadsheet. It's really good. I should probably link it
Oh,
somewhere.
that's a jump round too.
Factoring damage, healing, damage plus healing to mana of drain life. So damage plus healing to mana, as you can see, 2.14. Pretty nutty. If you just get full value from it.
Since
You'll have at this point. This is like
pretty
not
useless
options
spell.
to use. On just that mob of average appropriate range that you're going to be killing, it feels excessive and overkill to apply 4 dots to it. 3 should be sufficient, and this should allow you to just be like fully sustainable, just to be able to, you know, just pretty much
Drain mana.
Sorry, it's lagging for me a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say no to drain mana because I don't use it.
So 34 to 38, you get a new rank of corruption, kind of more of the same. 34, you just get new ranks and stuff. Everything is calculated. So 40 is the next kind of shift, like kind of noteworthy shift here. At 40, you get access to Dark Pact, right? Dark Pact is very juicy, man. This is the thing we were talking about. At this point, you're going to turn Lash of Chain off autocast. You can use it one time as like kind of a pseudo taunt at the beginning of the fight, and just don't autocast it anymore. So you get like Dark Pact as your defense.
180, 220. So that was 90. That's 220. That's a huge increase.
That's the main difference.
Over double.
Turn off autocast. They're using Dark Pact. If she's still mana capping with this, though, if she's still mana capping with this on autocast,
dear.
keep it on autocast. Use Dark Pact. So this is,
I've been doing that for a while. Oh, what the fuck?
More drastically, I don't think so. It's pretty consistent. Okay, we're going for leveling gear now. We're going to be talking about
Rank
critical
3.
items along the way.
Swear to God I changed that.
Critical items along the way.
Alright, so that
So
basically
that
doubled the
slot
damage.
here, like
Oh,
green
good
gear,
lord.
green gear drops and it just rolls with,
Yeah, I'm gonna
higher
punch
gear,
through mobs
whatever.
now. Jeez.
Best gear, you know, based on
Corruption's
be consistent
over
with
doubled.
how logic we
That's over doubled. I didn't have the rank 3 in.
Whale's gonna be best in slot, which is gonna be Stamina Spirit.
Where's my
and then
Warlock?
followed
Rank
by,
4,
the
just
Owl,
like-
which is Intellect Spirit. So then here's the critical items that you want to make sure you want to be mindful of along the way as you lesser and greater magic wands crafted 10 and 14 respectively.
Okay.
Gravestone Scepter obtained mid-20s in BFD. I think it's absolutely worth doing as a Warlock. You should do it. You're not going to be up there with the female Night Elf Hunters of the world speed level. They're going to be faster than you do. In my humble opinion, I think those hunters are going to be ahead of you. And you're going to find some people, even if you get a little bit higher level and you have to wait a couple hours, and let's say you're 28 and people are starting to get 24, 25 at that point, just do BFD then. You know, you don't have to wait. Just keep doing your thing, and then go do it when it makes sense to do it. Nifty stopwatch. This is something you can obtain in Badlands. I think you need frost oil though, right? So on fresh, you may not be able to get that. You can get the recipe from Alterac. So you might be able to get it, but just keep that in mind. Skull and Pending Doom Quest, obtained in 30s in High Badlands, one of the most powerful items in the game. Point blank period, fits in, slots in really well with Warlock. Phase 1, it's a little bit spicy though, it does a lot of damage, but really, really good. Movement speed, bonus from it, but most importantly, the idea that it makes you kind of CC you because it takes you some damage. Shadow Leaf set. This is something that I'm definitely going to try and pursue with my dual leveling Troll Priest partner, killing spiders as we get to level 40 and their level appropriate in Swamp of Sorrows. Staying here, grinding until we get sufficient Shadow Silk, the Deathweave Tarantulas and Swamp of Sorrows. Something to keep in mind as a Warlock, something that you can do this yourself as well. Carrot on a Stick, Shard of Afraza, Deep Woodlands Cloak. So we confirmed that the Jinta lore quest and Hinterlands are going to be there. So there's 2 really, really spicy items you can get out of there. Deep Woodlands Cloaks, probably going to be our week 1 cloak that we're going to walk into Molten Core with. Also, Nature's Breath, that's going to be the one that carries you to 60. That's a horde-only wand, though. It's a horde-only wand, so if your alliance are asked out with that, you can't really get that one. And then Spirit of Aquamentus is something you get from the Lincoln's Quest chain in Ungor. This is kind of critical leveling items you can just be mindful of along the way. Okay, Horde wand progression. We're going to go through wand progression now. So you're going to start with Lesser Magic Wand. I think it's absolutely worth it on fresh. If you're trying to go ahead and package, be a big pumper, craft this yourself. Even if it's not fresh, I just think it's so easy to make, you might as well craft it. If you're going to go for other professions and it's not fresh, like pretty much a couple hours after launch, like I'm talking like 2-3 hours after launch, you may not have to craft this yourself because they'll have guildies and stuff, they'll just give it to you. It's dirt cheap to make, like everyone's going to have it. If you're one of the few people that are in my boat, you're trying to be there as soon as the gates open, you're going to be a big pumper and try and get ahead. Absolutely craft it, and I would also say the same thing about Greater Magic Wand. It's kind of tough to do it solo at 14. I actually almost think it's impossible to get it at 14 on the dot. If you're solo, probably you might be able to. You have to get up to 70 enchanting, but as duo, it's very, very consistent, pretty much. Like the way you do it is you have both people pretty much pick up enchanting and DE all the green stuff to get up to that point. You're gonna have probably 4 or 5 quest rewards up to that point. A couple greens will drop up to that point. You DE all the green stuff you have, and in combination with all the cloth converting over into brown linen robes, you DE all that stuff. You should be able to get up to 70 and craft those greater magic wands. Major power spike at 14, especially if you dual level. Like once we get greater magic wands, it feels like we have shotguns are out there in the bears just blasting things, dude. Then branding rod.
Okay, well that talent calculated.
Enjoy this upgrade too long. You're not gonna enjoy this upgrade too long. This is something you're gonna get like kind of early 20s.
Not updating what I'm doing to it.
You get this at the end of the Isha Awa question. It starts with the Plane Strider Menace and ends with killing that big Lockless monster thing out on TP. Then you get Gravestone Scepter in BFD. Super good item. I think BFD is absolutely worth doing. Both Alliance and Horde, 29 DPS. So good. Such a strong run, man. Such a strong run. Dancing Flame, you might get debated into trying to get this as a horde. This is actually a massive question in Thousand Needles. A massive question, and it kind of makes solo is a no-go. You're not going to be able to do this as a solo, even as a warlock. Like getting Grenka's Claw, killing the rock elemental guy, doing Test of Lore. This one is a debate. It looks really good. It looks better than Gravestone, but by the time you get this, man, like I don't know about this. Don't even worry about Dancing Flame. So then moving into the next one, Captain Rackhorse Tiller. You're going to go into Deathless. This is an easy free wand.
Alright, just going to configure a new. I hate to see how much this is actually going to cost me.
Gnomish Zapper. This is Falcon's Code.
Okay, so we're level 24.
You can do underwater breathing unless you're undead. Doesn't matter, but pretty much you're going to do this yourself.
We do that.
Then Flash Wand after that. This one, like I said before, it's not really an upgrade, but you can turn this quest in immediately. Once you go get Gravestone Scepter, you can go get the curls around BFD, like I said before, and then you can get the curls in advance. And then when you get up to Badlands, you can just turn this in, and you can get this. Goblin Igniter next. It says you can pick it up at 30. You're not going to do it at 40 based on the level of guy that I've laid out. By the way, all these wands are you're pretty much going to get these wands in this exact order if you follow this guide. So this guide, it's rooted out so that you will run into these wands. You will run into these wands in this exact order, and if you use this, so just something to keep in mind. So Goblin Igniter, then Chill Nail Splinter. This is something that it's kind of rough getting. You have to do a bunch of quests to get this, but you have to. It is very strong. 37.1 DPS. You have to challenge Overlord and
6%. So 10% is 18, so it's an extra 9 damage.
I'm just going to leave it kind of ambiguous. You do this in your 40s, and probably with another person.
Got a descent on called What Can I Train? Coming soon, level 26.
Wallow, and then you go do some Nixia chain stuff. And then it's a little bit rough getting it, but it's very strong as you can see. It's another one that really sticks out. 37.1 DPS, very strong one. Next up after that, you're going to get Charged Lightning Rod. This was from the quest reward from Legend from Tanners and Searing Gorge. And you go to Searing Gorge for the first time from Badlands, left into it, and you got that little outhouse there.
20% more.
Nature's Breath, this is the Jin Lore quest, so this one is going to be in the game phase 1.
I'm just looking for the best bang for buck levels I got, so...
You're going to be using this pretty much all the way to 60. Smoky Spire Shooter is another consideration, but on Fresh, you're not going to be able to get this because you have to turn in a bunch of items to this. Turn in a bunch of items to this guy, and it may not even be an upgrade because you get some stats from this, but this is the EPL quest where you have to go to those cigarettes. You have to turn in some stuff to get it, though. One thing I want to point out about these wands, though, you see these wands right here? I don't think a lot of people know about this. You see these wands here? You see these wands right here, right? Pitchwood wand, Blackwood wand. See these wands? These wands are actually really good, especially for Alliance. You know why? Because Alliance struggles to get these later level wands. I was looking through the database. There's not much for Alliance in these late levels for wands. Look at these wands, guys. 40 and 41, 34.7 DPS and 35.3. These wands are pretty nutty, man. On Alliance, like these are actually ones that you probably want to get at 40. We'll get into Alliance weapon progression, but you know they cost like 3 gold 50. It's not super cheap, but yeah, these wands pump, man. And you get them at 40 and 41. Pitchwood and Blackbone wand. Weird stuff you learn about vanilla every day. So Alliance weapon progression, they got a ton of low-level wands that Hordes don't have. They got Spark of the People's Militia, the Warlord Flame Stick, Torchlight wand, Sable wand, all stuff you probably run into. This is from killing Murk-Eye. This is People Militia, where it ends with killing the highwayman, and you get the Spartan People's Militia, Dwarven Flame Stick. This is Lockmadon. This is a Dead Minds quest, but pretty much you just go lesser and the greater. Like, if you run into these and for some reason you don't want to craft a greater, like, you can absolutely use these. These are considerations, but lesser and the greater is just too good to pass up. You just gotta go lesser and the greater. So then, Spellcrafter Wand, Gravestone Scepter. This might be a yikes though. For Alliance, it might be rough. It starts in Stormwind, I think. It sends you to Stone Talon. Thing is, if you're gonna eventually take the L though and go out and do Gravestone Scepter and do BFD, you're gonna be out in that area anyway. So you may want to consider getting this Spellcrafter's Wand, Consecrated Wand. This is from Worgen in the Woods, but it is not as good as Gravestone. So. Not really a strict upgrade. Then you get Rackmore's Tiller, Kodo Brander, as we talked about as well. Then we go Rod of Sorrow, Burning Sliver. This is an Alliance-only quest. Gnomish Sapper, and then Pitchwood and Blackbone Wand. These are actually just something you would pick up. You know, they're actually just increases to your DPS, man. They're actually pretty good. And then you go Charge Lightning Rod. I think that's it. You just use Charge Lightning Rod on the Alliance side, unless you get something that drops into dungeon or something like that. That's pretty much the Alliance wand progression. And let's see. So trade goods needed for essential crafts. Just some more personal stuff that I'm doing for for my personal launch. I'm preparing SM and BS Ruin, Ragnaros. I also have pre-raid stuff in here as well. Probably not going to do that in this video. Maybe I'll do another video for this stuff. So I do have some pre-bis laid out here. I put a link to the presentation in the description below. I think that's going to do it, guys. I think that's going to do it, man. So here it is, guys. I don't know what you guys think about that. Again, I feel like I may have overpromised and underdelivered here. I was hoping to make this a really clean, well-edited video. But at the end of the day, I have limited hours, and I struggle with time management. And
mate,
this is at least we're getting something out there, right? We're getting something out there, and I hope it can benefit some of you guys. It may not be in the most polished form. May not be in the most polished form, but it's something that you can hopefully make use of. So that's gonna do it, guys. Let me see who we can host. I just wanted to touch base with you about this. We're less than 24 hours away, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 24 hours away. I couldn't be more excited. But I'm also pretty anxious. I got butterflies. It's going to be crazy, man. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. A lot could go right, a lot could go wrong. So we're going to see what happens. Either way, it's been an absolute just honor and privilege to be some sort of service to this community. I really like hanging out with you guys. You guys have so many options as far as who to watch, what content creators to follow, or do whatever. So I do really appreciate your time and continued support over the years. It's been years at this point. We've been talking about this thing, and tomorrow starts a new era. It's a new era, man.
Okay.
It's a new era. It's the post-launch era. It's going to be different tomorrow. As of tomorrow,
indeed, my friend.
we're actually going to play the damn game we're talking about.
Okay, so I'm looking at my class here. So I originally went down this path, and I thought I've got to do something different. So I've gone with 15% to your stat. Increases your total stamina by 15%. So that's my stamina, not my life. So that's so if my life was 1,000, 15% would be a reasonable chunk over 100. But it's on stamina, so maybe it works out the same. I don't know. 1 for 1. So I've got 1,000 life with this, so that life will drop, or will it? So what I was planning on respecking it, which is going to cost me more gold because I did it once, I'm going to go 3 into Inspiration, 5 to get instant, jump over the Demonology, go 5 in that to get the life, and then we put 2 into Void Tech. Otherwise, let me just look at my Demonology tree just to make sure that I back out. level 40 I can get Soul Link. If I go total demonology. Just gonna reset the tree. What can I do in affliction? So let's just jump over to affliction. So we go full 5 in corruption for instant. So let's go full 5 in suppression. Then let's go 2 in improve life tap. Drain life 10%. Drain life something I don't use a lot of, but I'm just going to say improve agony damage. Just, I don't know. Just for the sake of it. Nightfall gives you corruption and drain life spells. Casting agony all the time. Use your corruption and drain life. Right. So I'll go 2. So alright, so 5, 5 in the first 2 rows. 2 in improve life tap. I go 3 in 6% extra damage and agony. Then I put 2 in the nightfall. Okay. We still need points. Improve life drain. That gives us siphon life. So that's level 30. So siphon life by level 30. If we go that way. So that's shadow master increases damage dealt. Damage dealt or life drain by your shadow spells by 2%. I need how many points? 25. Got 21. Okay, let's go 5-5 in drain life. Two in fell concentration, which gives us 28% chance. So then my level 35, we've got Shadow Mastery, 1 rank. We pump that up, so by level 39 we have 10% shadow damage. And then Dark Pact, which drains 150 of your pet's mana, retaining 150 mana doesn't sound like a lot. Especially when some spells are... hang on, what's this costing me? That's 50 mana. What's that costing me? 90 mana. 100 mana, so it's not a lot. I can only imagine by the time we get in that level, mana's going to be a big issue. Okay, let's take that back. Take all that back. Siphon life. So you can have... hang on. How far can we go back? Easier corruption. Okay, so we can have Nightfall by level 26. Up by 6%, so what's that? Like 10% is 18. Oh, 10%. That's level 28 that goes up. Okay. Cast an agony on everything. And a life drain not on everything. So if I go 5/5 the first two, 3 increase my agony damage is something I'm just dotting everything with. So you want that to do more damage. And then I've got 13 points in affliction. And we want to focus on survivability, so go to and demonic embrace gives me 6%. So by level 26. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, 5 in improved corruption for instant, 5 in suppression for the hit, 3 in affliction for more damage. I want to do as much damage as possible. And then I want to be surviving. So 2 in demonic embrace just for more life. Alright, we're going to do that. Because that's just...
Strength and honor.
Yes, I do. How much is this going to... Ah! Yow! That's a huge jump. 1 gold to 5. Oh, that's gonna cripple me a little bit. What did I respect? Alright, I'm gonna just think on it and I'll come back. I'll take a short break. Hasta la vista.